Hello and welcome to the Weekly Scroll podcast here on the Adventure Archive. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Aram, the cursed beast-bitten astrologer.
Nice. I didn't hear the second part. That's good. That's good shit. And today we are going to be going over the Tropy RPG, not just Tropy Dark, which Tropy was Tropy, and then Tropy became Tropy Dark, and then they also made Tropy Gold, and then there's Tropy Loom. So we're doing Tropy Dark and Tropy Gold today. We were just going to do Tropy Dark, and we realized that even though the book is quite big, it's only like 30 pages of rules. So we're
really
going to hit both.
Not. So it's really not that big.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's like incursions are there, which is a great term. People should use that. Incursions.
You know what?
You know?
That would be such a good one. A good word for like a game that you make on your own, and then you realize another game already called it something that's very popular.
That's very funny.
You can't. Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. It's awesome.
For those of you listening, Ryan's game he's currently working on originally was called Incursions, and is now not called that, and hasn't been for a while.
Because of Tropy Dark. I read it and was like, this game is amazing, and I can't use that word anymore. So thanks, Gauntlet. Appreciate it, Jesse Ross.
Listen, they didn't tell you couldn't use it. You volunteered to not use it.
Well, of course, because I mean, Tropy Dark is so fucking badass that if you use the word incursion, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, like Tropy Dark."
I'm actually gonna call my game Dark Trophy. So honestly, fuck it. You know,
that's what you got to. That's what you got to do. I'm gonna call mine Dragons and Dungeons.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tropy Dark. So interesting thing about Tropy, right? I don't know if you know this. From everything that I've been able to find and read, did you know, as far as I'm aware, and tell me if I'm wrong, Tropy actually started as kind of like an offshoot sub-game kind of ish of Symbaroum.
Oh, cool. I did not hear that. Yeah. I've never read through Symbaroum, you know?
So I'm actually rocking my Symbaroum shirt. But if you flip through the Symbaroum book and then you flip through the Tropy book, you'll see that it's like the art style is very similar. The font choices are very similar. So as far as I'm aware, again, as much as I've been able to find information on, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Don't correct us. We like being wrong.
It was actually originally kind of set-ish, inspired by or was set for the world of Symbaroum in the Dark Forest of Dakovar. So when after we go through this, just flip open the Symbaroum PDF and you're going to go, oh, I get it. Yeah. Great. Both games are amazing. But I thought that was great. And mechanically, it's a mix of Cthulhu Dark and guess what game? Blades in the Dark.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense now you say it all out. Listen, man, I just woke up from a nap. I'm
get that Celsius in you.
I'm Ryan tonight. Yeah, I'm here chugging water because my brain's all dehydrated. My brain's all dried up, like an old sponge.
Are you saying that I'm usually the one who has a dried up, like old sponge
No, you're usually the one who just woke up and is tired.
Very true. I'm tired, but I woke up a couple hours ago, so I'm good. So, for those that don't understand kind of like why that was a thing, pre-stream, I was like, fuck, dude, we need to eventually go over Blades in the Dark. And we talked about maybe doing Blades in the Dark next. And that's why me going, oh, this is part Blades in the Dark mattered to anybody but me and Hunter. So this game, as far as I know, is kind of a mashup of Cthulhu Dark and Blades in the Dark, set in what was once the Dakovar forests of Symbaroum that has now become kind of its own game a little bit. But that is where it birthed from. That is where Tropy came from. And Tropy is a game, at least Tropy Dark is a game that you don't really win. You really just experience the descent into ruin and madness as you enter a forest that you'll never escape from. So it's all about psychological horror and doomed characters. That became Tropy Dark, and Tropy Gold is a kind of a version of the game where it's more survivable and more, instead of one-shot themed, it's more like campaign themed. So today we're going to go over both, and we'll dig deep into Tropy Dark, and then we'll jump into Tropy Gold to really just highlight the differences between the two games. So first, though, I do want to show this off. You know what? I'm even going to go to a big window to show this one off. Even
big window.
Boom! I'm in a big window. I got this bad boy right here. And for those in podcast land that can't see it, I'm even going to turn the blur off again on this, because I have the box set from Tropy. So back this forever ago, took a very long time to get out, but you know what? Worth it. Worth the wait. The box set itself is gorgeous. It's got the Tropy logo on the front, Tropy logo on the side, and then when you actually look at the books on the side, first of all, I love all the Tropy logos. So the Tropy Dark is kind of like the deer head Tropy logo. Tropy Gold is his sun. It almost kind of looks like the Summit logo on your shirt there. And then Tropy Loom is this kind of like, it's almost like a hashtag, but with like a bunch of extra pieces. It looks like a little batch of weaving with like four across, four down.
Fabric, like a loom, weave fabric.
So Tropy Dark is the original game where it's like one shot because you're gonna die. Tropy Gold is the kind of like campaign version of the game, and Tropy Loom is a lore book, which has got some really like important locations, all that kind of stuff. So really, really fantastic triple set here. Great way to do it. And the books themselves are absolutely fucking stunning. So when you see it from the side of the box set, they're all cloth bound with these like gilded, the trophy is in this kind of like whitish silver. The gold is obviously in gold, and Tropy Loom is in green. So from the side, they are stunning. Jesse Ross, right? Everything's on it. And then when you actually crack the box set open, first of all three books have ribbons in it, and the ribbons.
We love a good ribbon, man.
Ribbons make my day better. But also, I'm probably not even talking on the mic here. Yeah, words. I know words. So anyway, so the Tropy Dark one has a black ribbon. The Tropy Gold one has a gold ribbon. The Tropy Loom one has a green ribbon. And then when you actually look at the covers of each, it's just stunning, cool pieces of art. But that cloth binding is only on like the first inch and a half around the binding. And then the book itself is more like the standard book style. It's not gloss. It's not matte. It's a little bit in between. But quality printings. Really, really stunningly beautiful books. Really, really well done. I love that. I love cloth-bound books, but like we said before, I think, which one did we touch on last time that was cloth-bound? Oh, I think it might have been the Gangsta Titan City book. When the whole book is cloth-bound, I really can't, I don't feel like I can use the book because I feel like it really digs my...
I don't think the Gangsta Titan City is cloth-bound.
Oh, the special edition one that I have is.
Sorry. Yeah, this is the normal edition.
Oh, no. Wow. I showed you 3 versions?
Fucking peasant, dude.
Yeah, you are a little... I got 3 versions of the game. How many did you get? That's what I thought. Anyway, if you... this one, since...
I got 3 versions of the game. How many you got?
Oh, man. Anyway, so... I love that it's only cloth bound on like the binding, really, and then you can actually hold and use the game otherwise. This isn't one that I feel like I just have to stick on a shelf and then be done with. So really, really fantastic, gorgeous box set. Highly recommend grabbing them. I don't think they're like cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but I will say, regardless, it's super worth it. This is from Gauntlet RPG. And Jesse Ross is the writer. So again, the box set, absolutely stunning, absolutely worth it. Definitely recommend buying it. Quick preview. So, or thoughts. Let me go back to the opening window. Listen, this is a game of dark shit where you definitely die. So how do you think I feel about it?
I think you're gonna love this game.
I think I love the fuck out of this game. Yeah. I think this is one of my favorite games ever. I love this game. Let me turn the blur back on because all the cool kids use blur. There it is. Okay, so
nice. Gotta blur this shit out.
Yeah. I don't want people to read all of the books behind me that they can clearly see. So let's just jump into it. Let's get going. Game read through. Here we go.
Transition that page.
We're transitioning. So Tropy Dark, yeah. So even the cover of the PDF looks exactly like the book, and I really, really love that. They even put like the black bar on the side, which is where the cloth binding is on the normal book. So if you're seeing this cover, it's great. And then the cover is a very like kind of like black and white, massive kind of foggy forest with these 2 little figures near the bottom, so you can see how big and kind of foreboding the forest is. Really, really fantastic.
It forebodes.
It does. 4 boats all day. Even 5 boats sometimes. So well, so right off the bat, I'm pretty sure that when this crowdfunded, there were some stretch goals for extra like identity options, like occupations and backgrounds, and I think it started the book. Yeah, I think there were expanded options. I could be completely wrong. So that's why it kind of starts with a bunch of those options right off the bat, because I think those were extra. So there's identity options like occupation, background right off the top, drive options, ritual options, and we'll explain why those are a thing in a little bit. Really, really gorgeous piece of art here with some writing right off the front page. Like it looks like map overlaid with like a piece of parchment. With a slip of paper on it. My beloved, take this scrap of parchment as a talisman. It bears the mark of the old one and his sacred tree. Be safe and find your way back to me. Then there's a name on it. I love that. Like, that's a great way to start off the book. That's vibes all day right there.
You ever played Darkest Dungeon?
I did. Yeah, I have.
Like the beginning's like the guy's like writing a letter and you're reading the letter. Yeah. It just reminded me of that. But I do like that. So
no, this definitely channels some Darkest Dungeon stuff in here for sure. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, Darkest Dungeon is, I mean, it's, yeah. I'm that kind of edgelord.
I'm not setting it up to download right now while we're doing this or anything. So
all right. So wonderful little bit here as we hit the Trophy Dark table of contents. But again, even if you just look at like the style of the font, if I pull a Symbaroum book off the back, let me pull a Symbaroum book off.
Dude, why don't you go ahead and pull a Symbaroum book? Nice shorts.
Let's grab the color rule book here. All right. Okay. So as I hold up the core rule book, look at the font choice right here.
I see it.
Yeah. So for those in podcast land, when you actually open up like the Symbaroum book, and you flip through the trophy book already, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see this page?
I mean, the moment you said it, I was like, oh yeah, very similar. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, I could be completely wrong, but everything I've read, I think I even read, somewhere that the game was originally called like Dark Dakivar or something like that. So it was very much originally influenced by Symbaroum, unless I'm completely wrong, talking out of my ass, and somebody correct me. Regardless, though, we get to the table of contents page, and the beautiful thing about this page is the cursor, as it rolls over things, turns into a little hand. And for everyone out there who's listened to me bitch about it forever, we all know what that means.
Means hyperlinked.
It's hyperlinked, baby. We need to make that weekly scroll hyperlink merch.
Yeah, it's hyperlinked.
I think just like the font, the word logo, but like a cursor that becomes a hand, like scrolled over part of it. You know what I mean? We got to do that. Put it up on Bonfire. We'll get it out there. No one's gonna buy it, but I'll buy one.
I'll buy one.
Boom! That's 2 sales right there. So, so we got an introduction. We have the player's guide, which is only from page like 6 to 22. Got the game master's guide from 22 to 32, and that's it. In the rest of the book, which ends up being like 180 pages.
It's so funny how much of it is just incursions. Like it's just encounters essentially.
Which I love the shit of it. So there's an overview of what incursions are.
Insane value for this book.
Oh my god! And there's so many more than this. So many more than this. And people do some really good shit with it. So I mean, the book consists of how many fucking and then there's a whole table in the back of random tables and generators right here. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22 incursions in this book. God. And Josh Demansky, I think when he was talking about Trophy Gold, let me kick to this real quick. He commented on our Twitter a little bit and said that, which one did he say? Roots of Old Calidor, I think. Yeah, must be. He said it's one of the greatest mega dungeons he's ever read. So I haven't read a lot of the incursions in Gold, but definitely going to read that a little bit more once we're done here, because this game just it makes my heart tickle and sing. So anyway, let's get cracking in here. Let's go straight into the introduction, which is The Forest. So again, a publication by Gauntlet RPG in association with Hedgemage Press. I mean, come on, Hedgemage, for the one that it's just everything's good about this. created by Jesse Ross. Incursions and additional contributions by a fat stack of people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 16 extra people here added stuff to this game. Edited by Lauren McManamon. Sorry about that. Publisher by Jason Cordova, who started Gauntlet RPG. Art and layout by Jesse Ross. Additional art by Anna Z. Cartography by Ryan McGee. Special thanks to 2,543 Kickstarter backers. That's right. And then, yeah, that's Trophy and Trophy Dark. So printed in Lithuania. Introduction into the forest. And how dope. I mean, I love the Symbaroum style. And again, this channels it pretty heavily. How dope is this, though? It's just the forest. And there is a figure of a girl hiding behind a tree with a dagger. And it's great. And I love these like black tags on the side for everything. It says introduction on like a black tag.
They're not in the way. Yeah.
Dude.
They also let you know where you are in the book. And I like that.
Yeah. And so well laid. I love the way that this thing is laid out. Like even this page here with the parchment, like the next 2 pages are intro, 3 pages are intro. It's all parchment and stuff like that. We're not going to read all of it, but even just that little bit of like throw parchment on it, angle it a tiny bit, give it a little bit of spice, you know?
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's nice with the dagger laid across on that. So there's a lot of parts in this book where really it's almost like a top-down view of just pages and parchment like on a desk or something, and it's great.
I will say they did a little bit lose me with the 3-page intro. So just throwing it out there, Mike. Oh man, okay.
But it's flavor, and I love it.
It is flavor.
It's a whole story write-up. Like it's really great. We're not gonna read the whole story. I mean, I'll read the first little bit and that's it. But the map was off. The eastward bend in the Nave River came up more quickly than documented, leading to a dispute that pushed well past sunset. It was Amar, our ranger, who saw the ruins first. Even by torchlight, the crumbling stone face of some vaguely human effigy was apparent through the hanging vines and foliage. And that goes on, like, there's a great story bit, but I like this bit. I like when there's a big chunk of story in the beginning. And what's great about it is that you only have to read it once, and you can always go back to it just to give yourself the flavor and the vibe later. So I'd rather have this and just skip the page than not have it. And then at the end, it says, "So I ask, are you ready to claim your trophy?" Great little, I love when the name of the game is in the book. That's great. Then there is yet another separate page here with some more intro on it. So it's all just story as if written by characters in world, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So then the actual written introduction of the game is like, I don't know, it's like 10 lines. What is this? Trophy Dark is a role-playing game about a group of treasure hunters entering a haunted forest that doesn't want them there. The game tells the story of the treasure hunters' physical and mental descent as they move deeper and deeper into the dangerous forest. Their journey ultimately brings them to ancient ruins that hold the treasure they seek and the monstrous entities that dwell there. This is not a hopeful story of brave and daring adventurers that slay dragons and drag bags of gold back to town. This is a horror story of entitled pillagers meeting tragic ends. Welcome to the world of Kaldur. Welcome to the forest. Great. Vibes all day so far. I mean,
very
really great.
Vibes. Vibey continuously.
Vibes all day. So there's a player's guide page here, which is another full page piece of art. And I love how it's just like 2 white bars with player's guide written on it right over it. Really great, laid out beautifully. Really,
Art's very cool.
Yeah. And my soul is written in this font. Like that is,
I believe that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. It's really great. I love it so much. And then, so we get to creating a treasure hunter. So really, this game has not a whole lot of rules and a lot of character creation stuff. So we're going to be creating a character. So Hunter, you're going to be our treasure hunter.
A treasure hunter. Hey, whoa, that's my fucking name.
Listen, you are a treasure hunter.
I want you to know that in almost every single game we read, my name comes up at least once. So
yeah, listen, hey, your mom did you right for being an RPG fan, you know?
She was like, "What? This fucking nerd's gonna love this shit."
Right? As she holds you for the first time. Okay. Yeah. So character creation, and this is another like third page piece of art. I really love how much art, like the vibes that this pushes high. Like we talk.
Yeah, I really do. I just like spooky forest. It's like I like spooky forest, old ruins. Like we were just having a discussion in my apartment with my apartment mates about how terrifying forests can be, like especially like the national forest like system in the US is like, or people who live in like Appalachia who are like people like that you don't go outside into the forest when you hear a noise in Appalachia, right? Like you don't. That's how people disappear, or they reappear hundreds of miles away. Forests can be really weird and dark.
Yeah, dude, the number of, have you ever seen the map where it shows like missing people in the United States, and then it gives a list of, and then it overlays it with like forest and cave systems?
Yeah, I've actually seen, I think, of what you're talking about. And like, I'm like, oh, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, no.
Let's yes, it was like, yeah, they're just never found again, ever. So
nope. Bye.
It's Bigfoot.
Listen, maybe they're hunting treasure.
It's Bigfoot, guys. It's Bigfoot. Confirmed Bigfoot.
Eating all of them, dude. So in Tropy Dark, you play a treasure hunter intent on entering the forest, ruins, and other haunted spaces of the world in search of riches. However, you're doomed. In the end, the forest always claims those who enter. Most never return, and those that do come back with their minds and bodies broken. Fight to survive, but know that you are marked. You will be claimed. You will be the forest's trophy. Listen.
Ooh.
Right? That's the name of the game.
Who's the trophy? Who, where, you know? Who's the trophy? Who?
It's so good. And you know what I love about this? And let me just, for anyone that listened to our episode yesterday with John Davis of Civid Sanctum was on yesterday, we went over Hyperborea, the kind of like Neo clone AD&D, super vibe heavy, world's awesome Hyperborea. So I talked about 5e a little bit, you know, as I rarely do. One of the things I specifically said was I think that it's been a massive disservice to anyone that's only ever played 5e as a game they've only ever played, that death doesn't really exist in the game. Like both mechanically, narratively, story-wise, module-wise, like it's really encouraged both in the rules as they're presented and in the kind of culture that has come around 5e, that you don't kill characters without their consent and like all this other stuff. And listen, I'm big on consent. I didn't mean to say that kind of snottily, but
if that's how you want to play your game, totally. But I think you're missing out on a really good time.
That's what I'm saying. I genuinely think it's a huge disservice to people that think that's the only way to play. Without the fear of death in game, you change the entire dynamic of the game. Like so incredibly, like if you don't fear death, you just do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it.
I know. I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I'm like, your character sheet still exists for that character after they die. Like you could just use them later. They're not like you have to rip. Like you're at a table where they're making you rip the character sheet. Like, so what, they died. Save that person, table them, bring them back 6 months later, you know?
And that's also cool though. I love games that are like literally talk about even in Hyperborea, it's like even though you're dead, like give them a minute to have some last words and really like, do like whatever. And like it changes the dynamic of the way that you play the game. And I love that this game straight up fucking tells you, no qualms about it, you're gonna fucking die. This is not about winning. This is about the journey of your descent into madness, like and just being broken, right? And not surviving. Straight off the bat, boom, you're gonna fucking die. Deal with it. And people can go, okay, cool. And then just enjoy the descent. So I do like that. So anyway, so for each table on the following pages, plus a 3 in the beginning, you can simply choose your favorite option or roll a dark die and a light die, which is a mechanic in here, to select one at random. We should do Cthulhu Dark at some point too. I think that'd be fun. You can also, I wish we had more time to do like 3 games a week, but life, money, capitalism,
girlfriend.
Right, that's what I was fixing to say, but I was like, no, I'm gonna hold that one in. But you said it, you good. Just get rid of her, then we have more time. So you can also
I like her. I like the time.
Listen, you like your time with me too, I can do what she can do for the most part. You can also work with your GM to make your own or use the character creation options found in Trophy Supplement. So anyway, we love a numbered list of how to build a character. It's great. 1, 2, 3, 4. First, choose your name and your pronouns. Love that they throw that in. Your name can be anything, but should feel like it fits thematically with the list of the samples provided. Do whatever.
Hold on, dude. I don't have pronouns. I don't have pronouns, bro.
I mean, you don't have to have them. That's fine. You just have to respect other people's, you know.
No, it was a joke because that doesn't make any sense because everyone obviously all pronouns, you know. That's how English works, language.
Yeah, that is. Listen. They don't know. All right. So anyway, next, choose your occupation and background, then determine which skills you have. Skills increase the odds of success when taken on a task. Narratively, your occupation indicates your role in the expedition and area of focus expertise. Your background reveals what you used to do. When you choose your background, think about what made you leave that life. I love that. I love that. So, and when you pick an occupation and you get your skills, you basically get a list of like 3 skills that come with it. I like that. I also like games where it's just like, you know, if you were a thief, anything thiefy just convinced me that was thiefy. But I do like that you get like the 3 options here in the game. It's good. And we'll go over those in a second. So next, you choose your drive. Right, so your drive is a reason you hunt for treasure. The GM will ask you to reflect on your drive during play, and will almost certainly use it as a knife that they can twist in your back. And then finally, you choose your rituals and mark your ruin. Love this. Rituals are dangerous spells you can cast to perform miraculous feats. All treasure hunters can learn and use rituals, regardless of background or occupation. So magic exists and everyone can use it, but it's not that it can have a cost. It does have a cost all the time. Yeah. So you can start with 0, 1, 2, or 3 rituals, but you must mark 1 ruin for each ritual you choose. Fucking love that. Beware, each ritual drives you 1 step closer to the end. And I'm about to break. You will lose yourself upon marking 6 ruin. So basically, character creation, name. You pick your occupation, which gives you your background, which gives you your skills and your job in the party. Your background, which is what you used to do. Your drive, which is why you're hunting treasure. And then you pick your rituals and you mark ruin based on how many rituals you pick. And that's it. It's really simple.
Very simple. Interesting. Yeah. I like the dark arcane ritual thing. I also like that if you pick 3, you're like halfway to ruin immediately. Like,
no, you're. Well, keep going.
No, go ahead.
No. Well, it's 6. If you pick 3, you're at 4 out of 6 because 1 is marked off automatically.
I thought.
So
wait, if you start with 0, you mark 1 ruin for each ritual you choose. So if I choose 0 rituals, then I mark nothing.
Everyone starts with 1 ruin.
Oh, really?
Look at the character sheet. The one's marked off already.
All use rituals regardless of background. You can start with 0, but you must mark 1 ruin. Doesn't say anywhere here that you have to start with 1 ruin.
We'll see it in a second. But also, scroll down the next page and look at the character sheet. That's already got 1 marked off.
No, I mean, I know there's that 1 pre-marked, but it doesn't say that mark 1 ruin for each ritual.
I think it comes up again. Maybe I'm completely wrong. And if I am, I'm an asshole. But anyway, the next page, and I really love this too, is a breakdown of the character sheet with like, you know, half character sheet, half art on the side. And it's also listed in 1, 2, 3, 4, just like the things up above. We love this, like numbered list of what to do. And then a picture of the character sheet explaining where to put those numbers in. This is a gorgeously laid out page too. I really love it. So it says mark 1 ruin for each ritual. Example, if you choose 2 rituals, you start with 3 ruin marked. See what I'm saying? Because 1's already marked.
Oh, well, okay.
So anyway, yes, if you max out your rituals, you're 2/3 of the way to fucking just being done.
You're dead.
Which is insanity. Insanity. Yeah, I love that. And I love 6 as a nice round number for being fucked. There is a whole section here for conditions, and which are mental and physical transformations you undergo when ruin goes up. The GM can offer suggestions, but you work with them to determine how you are affected. And then you can download the character sheet at tropyrpg.com. And that makes me sad.
Not linked.
It's not linked. So anyway, it's almost entirely hyperlinked, which is really fantastic. But it would be cool if you could click on tropyrpg.com.
It's interesting that those ones aren't, since they linked everything else. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think the index is hyperlinked. I don't know if there's a lot of inline hyperlinks for other things. We'll see. Well, I guess we can see as we go through. So anyway, we're going to do this. We're going to roll up your character. So don't forget, there are a lot of ones at the beginning too. So why don't you roll whatever you want? It's 2d6, one white, one black, or just pick one, and then 2 for one.
5, 5.
5, 5. So which do you want to use, the top ones, or do you want to use the second set?
Let's use the second set, the one we're on, since we're here anyway.
Okay, and then do you want to do one column across, or do you want to do one for each one?
I'm a roll for every column guy.
Okay. So. All right. So 5, 5 for you means that your name is.
My name's Revel.
Revel.
I'm Revel.
Yeah. Or Revel, whichever.
For occupation, we have 2, 3. So I'm a demonologist.
Yo, what are your skills there for a demonologist? Yeah. Where are we at? Right here. Demonologist. You got demons, negotiation, and trickery. Those are solid.
Very solid.
Okay, and so that's you in the party. That's your job. You are the demonologist.
Right. I'm the party's demonologist. And then for my background, 2, 6. So I'm an expelled apprentice.
Yo, probably.
It is good.
Because you were fucking around with demons, bro.
Probably I was fucking around with demons. Yeah. Once again, I will point out, and I will continue to put it's wild how often we do this with a table and we roll something and I'm just like, oh, that's amazing. You know?
Yeah. Well done tables that all fit together and give you like that. Your story is already like
it's there. Yeah.
It's there. Like and that's not to say they just make a table and it will be good. Like things need to be good to make a good table. But this table, they're so fucking good, dude. Like,
yeah.
Demonologist, astrologer, poet, sellsword, sorcerer, zealot, but the backgrounds are so fucking good. There's so much lore in here too. Defrocked priest, cured beast bitten, impeached official, heretical inquisitor, lured innocent. I mean, so good. You also get a bonus skill with your background. So what did you get for being an expelled apprentice?
Lore.
You're a lore boy. So well done.
I'm a really good at demon lore, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then roll up that drive. Why are you hunting treasure?
6-2.
Oh.
I want to retire in comfort in the Rose District of Amberette.
That's right. You got kicked out. You're not going to be a wizard. You ain't making money. You fuck around with demons too much. Demons ain't making you rich. Get some treasure. Use your knowledge of demons so you can retire and live the good life.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So that is a whole character. That's a whole fucking character right there. All you have to do is pick your rituals when we get to it. So what does this mean? There's a whole section here. It says many of the occupations, backgrounds, and drives refer to individuals, events, or locations and identities that are not fully explained. Which is interesting. A little bit more is explained in Lumen. I think they say that in just a second. It says, what is a beast?
Yeah, they're about
or
to,
a Feyborn. Yeah. So is a snake a smooth-talking charlatan or a literal serpent person? What happens at Countess Shima's Forbidden Festival? Who is Cyrus, and why do you need to take their place at the Earthen Council? What even is the Earthen Council? A player who selects one of these options should feel free to make up an explanation for them either during character creation or during the course of the game. Some of these references do get explained a bit more fully in the Trophy Loom setting book and in select incursions, but don't let any official quote-unquote explanations have any bearing on your game if you don't want them to. It's much more important to make something memorable and immediately useful at the table that everyone is invested in the story and feels able to expand on it during the game. Rituals are intentionally left vague, and the exact limits of their effects are fluid and uncertain. When a player uses the ritual, they should work with the GM to determine the scope and specifics of their magic in that moment. There's a lot of time in this game, or a lot of parts of this game where it's literally like, you tell me, and the player comes up with the narrative and the story and the reasons and everything. This is a very group build narrative game, and I really enjoy that. I do think these are one of those games where like it is very different than trad games, I think, and it's very heavy on player involvement. So people that might be used to just something like 5e or more like, you know, GM is storyteller games where you're just kind of like more of a passive participant. This one's going to be a little different, but I also think this is a great one to throw people in the deep end a little bit and be like, this is the opposite end of the spectrum. So,
I fuck with this. That's my end of the spectrum. I prefer that. You know, I want them to play the game with me, you know?
Yeah.
Or I want to play the game with them. You know, like I want there to be a back and forth.
That's exactly what it is. And that's what I want with my GMing too, is like I did the Storyteller 5e stuff and that's fine. But like I slowly transition into trying to be more of an active participant in the game than the Storyteller. I want to be more of a referee than the Storyteller.
You're a cat in ultraviolet grasslands.
Sure. Yeah. So character ritual options, bro. You get rituals. I assume you're gonna roll up of these.
I'm gonna roll two rituals.
Just two? Just two?
I'll roll three.
Roll three. One for each page. It says. So on page 1, what do you roll? What'd you roll up for your 2d6?
I rolled 5-1 drain. Remove all water from a creature. That's fucked.
Oh shit! Oh my god, dude, that is fucked.
I mean, I am a demonologist who's an expert in demon lore.
And you just remove 70. Like,
the magic that I know is like kind of on the more fucked side.
Well, they're all kind of fucked too.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at something like Crucible, heat a metallic object to melting, like Beast, take the form halfway between human and animal. Like a lot of these are, if you like dark fantasy, and these are very non-Vancian, right? They're very broad, but they're very dark and fucked. So like, it's good. So page 2, what do we got on there? The F's
page
and beyond.
2 rolling. 4-6. So that's lift.
Ooh.
Temporarily reverse gravity in a small area.
Dope.
Okay, and our third and final, because I'm just gonna start with fucking 4 ruin. 36. Spark. Touch to revive a newly dead creature. A second touch, even accidental, kills instantly.
Bro, can you imagine bringing your buddy back and then like an hour later they do something cool and you clap them on the back and boom, they're fucking dead? Like, oh my god, that's very so funny. Good. It's so good. There's so many good spells on here. I honestly think like summon's a good one. Draw a known creature to you.
Oh, summon. I would love summon. That's a good one. So,
but that's the other thing too, is like you can pick one or you can roll. Like they specifically say you can do whatever. But listen, yeah, we know we're role people.
We roll in this household.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Listen, we roll even critically sometimes.
Yeah. I have a new guy at my table, at my bastards table, and he made a character. And he's like, so I just choose stuff. I was like, no, sorry.
Roll that shit up.
We don't do that at this table, brother. If you're here at the founding of the table, maybe, but nope, you're jumping in late, buddy. We don't choose anything here. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay, so what do we got next? We got how to play. We're getting into the rules. This is another one where there's like,
how do you play?
I'm not sure. Let's read it. Let's find out. This another 2/3 piece of art. This is like a ruin in a forest, and there's this character like kneeling in front of this kind of like ruined statue, but next to them in the river is a dead character bleeding into the water. So again, high vibes. So after you create a treasure hunter, you are ready to start playing Tropy Dark. Your GM will start by describing the game as a whole, setting expectations for the session, and making sure everyone understands the safety tools used in the game. So there isn't a specific section that some games have where it says these are safety tools, but it does reference that you should use them. So, use them. After that, they'll share the incursion you will play. Incursions are themed adventures with a set structure of 5 rings. The treasure hunters move through, bringing them further and further into the forest or other haunted environment found in this session. Each ring has associated terrors trying to destroy or push back the treasure hunters and temptations trying to draw them deeper in. During gameplay, the GM explains the rules as they are needed, specifically how you can use your treasure hunter's skills and rituals to make dice rolls and how those rolls impact your ruin, conditions, and the story. This chapter details the dice rolls, etc., etc. So, next page, another full piece page of badass dark forest art, really well done. Really gorgeous. Again, keeping the vibes up. So there's a whole section here on player principles. It's white laid out over a whole another background, which is fantastic.
It looks so good.
It's how good is this? It's really great.
The art on this page is really good too. The art's great. I really like the inlay on the shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing too is a lot of this art kind of has a very kind of digital version of oil painting vibe. I feel like this one's a lot more crisp. which makes it stand out a little bit. But yeah, there's a knight, full plate, shield, sword, no helmet, looking out at you. Loving that kind of fourth wall break with it. Set in like kind of like a ruined and forest. There's like stone blocks and a forest and a tree up the side, and then there's player principles right on the page. So I love this idea. I love when games have player principles and GM principles, where the players can really be given kind of that little guideline on like not how to play the game really mechanically, but how to embrace the game that you are playing. The
spirit of playing this game, like
spirit. Yeah.
I every time we see like something like this in a game we go through, it's always one of my favorite parts. Is I'm like, okay, how do you want me to play this game? Because I'll play it the way they want me to. At least a little bit.
That's the thing. If you can write into your rules some intent, and if you can write up a player principle section that gives you a little bit of direction, and then you can write your modules in such a way that encourages the intent that you wrote into the rules, it allows those principles that you wrote to be used more effectively, because the way you write the rules, the way the rules are presented, will inherently, whether consciously or subconsciously, encourage a style of gameplay. If that can be enforced also with this little like section here on principles and spirit of play, you have whether it's a good game or not, you have a game that players can more easily play to the intent that you designed at, and it's great. And I think this one does it perfectly. So, player principles. They are guidelines. Whenever you feel stuck about what you should do, look at these 3 principles. The first one is embracing tragedy. Your character has taken on this work out of desperation. The prospects are not good. Play up the inherent sadness of desperation. When presented with a choice, pick the one that pulls at your heartstrings and puts you in a predicament, especially in rings 3, 4, and 5. So, listen, like, get fucked, like, in a good way, in your heart,
right here,
Yeah.
Get fucked in your heart.
Don't hold back. Trophy Dark is a game of ever-increasing stakes and pressure, but there are built-in release valves. When your character is on the line, push them. When coming up with the devil's bargains, which is a great mechanic from other characters, go hard. They can always reject your offer if it's too hard. And then number 3, play to lose. At some point, your luck will run out. Embrace your end and make it memorable. These are really great, again, reinforcing that concept. You're not going to make it out of here. So if you're going to be in this area that's going to fuck up your body and your mind, go hard with it. Like, just go all out and really embrace this, again, this descent into madness and ruin, Go hard. So we're actually getting into the mechanics of the game, which are like 2 pages long. So rolling the dice is the first part. The primary role in the entire game is a risk roll in Dark, different in Gold, and we'll go over that in just a bit. But in Trophy Dark, rolls call for a dark light or a light dice, so each player should have a handful of 6-sided dice in 2 different colors. Only players make these rolls. The GM only uses dice on random tables. That's it. Love that. We love GMs not having a roll.
Oh, luxurious,
So good. So, real breakdown of how it works. So the risk roll, capital R's, is the beating heart of Trophy Dark. At its core, it tells us how well your treasure hunter performs risky tasks. However, it also creates space for other players in the GM to suggest story details. When attempting a risky task, say what you hope will happen, and the GM and players, and ask the GM and other players what could possibly go wrong. Then gather dice. So before you do any roll, you say what you hope happens. The GM and everyone at the table comes up with what could go wrong, and then you roll. And I love that. It's just like everyone could just, and I feel like people are going to keep building and building on each other. Someone comes up with an idea and they be like, oh yeah, but how about this? Oh yeah, about this. And you're like, well, goddamn guys, but that's a really cool way to do it. So again, you start with light and dark dice. So you take a light die if the task is something you are skilled at because of your occupation or background. You only get 1 light die for your skills, even if multiple skills apply. If you don't have any relevant skills, you can't take this die. So you're building a dice pool, right? So you start with your skills. If they apply, and even if 5 of them apply, you get 1, right? So then you take a light die for accepting a devil's bargain from another player. Love the devil's bargain, right? There are complications that happen no matter the outcome of the roll. You can only accept 1 devil's bargain. See the next page for more info. So that discussion you have with the players beforehand about what can go wrong, you pick one, right? You take a devil's bargain, and if you do accept a devil's bargain, you get another die, right? You can say no, not get the die, not get the complications.
And you get another light die, and that matters.
Light die.
In a moment.
It does. It does. Because then you can add a dark die if you're risking your mind or body. You must include this die whenever you perform a ritual or if the GM declares that it applies. So the GM could just be like, nah, this is fucked, dark die, or you do a ritual. So really, the most that you can really put together here is 2 lights and a dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very few. And then not much of a pool, you know?
Not really. It's more like a puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dice puddle.
If you roll the dice, if your highest die is A, so this is that dice pool, even though it's small, it's 1 die, not a bell curve. And then this is the concept again of low numbers fail, middle numbers success with complication, high numbers succeed. Love this. We know Lumen does this. I think this is a core rules for Blades in the Dark. We don't know. We haven't read it, but we will soon. And then that's it. So on 1 to 3, you fail. Things get worse. Everything sucks. You're fucked, right? 4 to 5, you succeed, but there's a complication. The GM describes the complications. Then you describe how you succeed or vice versa. Also, keep in mind the Devil's Bargain, right? There's a complication from the Devil's Bargain regardless of the roll, which could actually be in addition to the 4 to 5. Right?
Wow.
Because the Devil's Bargain says if you take the bargain, the complication happens even if you fail or succeed. So you could really just be rolling 1 light, 1 dark if you don't want to take Devil's Bargains. You could really just be rolling 1. You could, I guess you could roll like no die, but I guess you always have to roll 1. So
yeah, I mean, I guess if you don't have any skills, you're going to be risking your mind and body for sure. So you're going to roll a dark die.
Yeah. 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 And then on 6, you succeed. Good job. If your highest die is a dark die and the dark die is higher than your current ruin, mark 1 ruin. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Right? Then work with the GM to define a condition describing how the forest changes you, and you can see conditions. Wait, do we have inline hyperlinks here? There is. So we have inline hyperlinks. So I feel like the only thing not hyperlinked so far is the that link out to the Tropy RPG page, which honestly isn't that big of a deal. Wait, let me check real quick. I don't think we checked for bookmarks in the beginning. Boom, baby, bookmarks. So navigation tools, solid so far. We'll give them that. So if you are unhappy with your roll and your highest die is a light die, you may add a dark die to your dice pool and re-roll them all. You may keep adding a dark die and re-rolling until you're satisfied with your result or until your highest die is a dark die.
Hey, sorry, real quick. Try that inline hyperlink. What page does it take you to?
Page 9. Is that an incorrect hyperlink? It definitely doesn't take me to page 19.
Definitely does not take you to page 19.
Oh no! At least it's there. You know, they tried. What about this one? Oh, still takes us to page 8. So so it looks like some of the PDF hyperlinks in here are inaccurate. We'll try another one in a little bit when we find one. So the forest rule: when dark and light die are tied, the dark die is the highest. Love that. Tie goes not to the runner. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes sense. Like this is the things get worse, you know?
Okay. Yeah, it does. Things get worse, and even if it's tied, it's not for you. The forest always wins. You lose. So that's generally how you do a quick run through, right? So I want to do something, right? Everyone at the table tells me what could go wrong. If I use my skill, I take a light die. If I take a Devil's Bargain, so a complication from another player or the GM, I take another light die. If I'm using a ritual, I'll take a dark die, right? And then I'll throw it all out there. 1 to 3 fails, 4 to 5 success with complication, 6 is a success. But if my dark die is my highest die and it's higher than my current ruin, I take a ruin. If my light die is highest, I can take another dark die and roll again, right? And if I don't like that and my light die is still my highest, I can take another dark die and roll them all over again. I can do that as many times as I want until the light die is not the highest. So I love that. It's great. Yeah. And tie goes to the forest. So fighting monsters, you don't really get to in this one. You're fucked. So that's where gold comes in. But so for fighting monsters, the world of Tropy Dark is dangerous, filled with a bunch of creatures. There are 2 types, folk and monsters. That's it. Folk include people, sometimes strange or magical, and normal animals. They can be fought and removed from play through a successful risk roll. So there's no combat. It's risk rolls and that's it. Like you just describe the combat narratively and then see if you succeed or not. That's it. Because again, risk roll is pretty much trophy. That's it. Monsters are something else. They relentlessly serve the forest and cannot be defeated by mere treasure hunters. If you attempt a risk roll to incapacitate or kill a monster, you will die.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So instead, roll to hide, roll to escape, roll to use a ritual. If you fight something that is not monstrous, or if you fight a monster without an intent to defeat it, for example, to fight your way past it, say what you want from the fight, then roll normally. So basically, you can use your risk roll to do anything you want except head-to-head fight to kill, right? Or even incapacitate. You have to fight to get past. You have to fight to escape. You have to hide. You have to run. You have to use a ritual. But any direct confrontation with a monster, you just die. So that sucks for you. Again, a little bit different.
Well, that sucks for you.
Yeah, a little bit different in gold, and that's really great. I'm going to finish Devil's Bargain, and then we're going to jump to the left, which is fucking awesome. So Devil's Bargains, treasure hunters laugh at danger, fueled by the folly of their pride, but failure nips at their heels, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When you gather dice to make a risk roll, the GM or other players can offer you a bonus light die if you accept a Devil's Bargain. So we talked about that already. So various options here: causing collateral damage or unintended harm, getting lost or separated from your companions, sacrificing an item or piece of treasure, betraying a fellow treasure hunter, or attracting unwanted attention. These are all things that you could do with the Devil's Bargain, right? So regardless of the outcome of the roll, you have to accept those consequences. You make the deal, you pay the price, you get the die. But you never have to take it. So that sucks. So anyone may veto or suggest alterations to a proposed Devil's Bargain, especially if it would also impact their treasure hunter. You may only offer and accept Devil's Bargains when making a risk roll. I like that. I like that there's kind of like a built-in safety tool for someone to be like, hey, wait a minute. Like, I don't agree with that.
I'm going
to
get fucked by this. Fuck that. Yeah.
So I really enjoy that mechanic. But what I was talking about on the left here is another great explainer page. There was a great explainer page for how to fill out your character sheet. This risk roll explainer, it reminds me of the content of like the mothership kind of table a little bit, but this is a straight up, what are these called?
Flowchart.
Flowchart. That's exactly what it is, of how a risk roll works. And I really, really, really love this. So top of the box, say what you hope will happen, right, is the thing. Is the kind of a header for it, and it says ask the GM and other players what could go wrong. Then you gather your dice, and it talks about the light die for the skills, the light die for Devil's Bargain, the dark die again. It's already there. Then you roll the dice and compare. Did you roll a dark die equal to or higher than your highest light roll? If yes, you take ruin, right? So then you mark one ruin, and then you go to the highest die results on the 1 to 3, 4 to 5, or 6, right? But if no, you can risk if you want. Are you willing to risk your mind or body for a better result? If no, you just get the die result. If yes, you re-roll adding a dark die. And then it cycles back up to, is your dark die equal to or higher? If not, move on. Great chart. Great chart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, super simple rule set. Like clean, nice, Options with consequences. Really great.
You could pick this book up and play almost immediately. If you ever make a character real quick and just start. Yeah,
I think you could easily sit down in a group. I think for some players that probably played a game or two before, you could sit down, crack this book open, with the players having never touched it, and in less than 30 minutes easily, you will already be in the adventure.
Hell yeah.
All right. So there's two other options here. There's a help roll. So if another player is making a risk roll that includes at least one dark die, you may offer to help them. If they accept your offer, they get another light die. Say how you expose yourself to danger and roll one light die. So actually, you're rolling the light die, not the other player. And you have to say how you're going to expose yourself to danger in order to help them. So this, they may include your light die's result when considering their overall success. But if your light die result matches any of the dark die in their roll, mark one ruin, then work with the GM to determine a condition. Yeah.
Wow. So it doesn't work.
Yeah, man. Okay, that really makes me sad. There's an inline hyperlink, but when you click it, it doesn't take you anywhere.
I saw you start to like pause and go towards it. I'm like, it doesn't work. I already tried.
Oh man. Oh, listen, Trophy. I love that you guys did inline hyperlinks, but I think your PDF it just needs a little bit more work. Maybe there's a more updated one that I haven't downloaded yet, but you know, the effort was there. So anyway, so if you try to help someone and your light die matches any of their dark die, you mark ruin. This game is punishing, and I dig the fuck out of it. Yeah. When you can only mark a maximum of 1 ruin when helping on a roll. This is particularly relevant when a player re-rolls a risk roll. The helping player doesn't re-roll their light die. However, you still mark 1 ruin. So if they keep re-rolling and you've already marked a ruin, you don't get rid of it, but you don't get any more, which is nice. More than one player may offer to help, in which case each player rolls their own die, and then also you risk your ruin as well. It's interesting, like 4 people can give you like 4 more light die, but that's really, and and you can only help if a dark die is in the mix.
Yeah.
Because it has to be able to match it, which is great. And then the other role is a contest role. Contest roles manage situations where treasure hunters are against each other. Love that. So a little bit of PvP action, right? To engage in contest, first agree on what's at stake, and then you gather your dice. So you take 1 light die if the contest is something you are skilled at. You take 1 light die for each mark of ruin you currently have. Oh. So, for example, if you have 4 ruin, you get 4 light dice. So listen, you with your 4 ruin should be PvPing all day, baby.
The forest is working you guys against each other, you know?
Yeah. This is the forest giving you an advantage commensurate with how much it has dug its claws into you. Yep. You're being the forest bitch. Take 1 dark die if the contest itself is inherently deadly or dangerous, and take as many additional dark die as you are willing to risk. Fat stack, baby.
Jeez.
You count all 6s that you roll. Whoever has the most 6s wins. In case of a tie, count 5s and 4s and 3s and 2s and 1s, right? For each dark die in your roll that shows a 1, mark 1 ruin. And then et cetera, et cetera. Oh, does this one work? It does, but it definitely doesn't take you to the conditions page. It takes you to the how to roll page.
And lose yourself takes you to page 12. Yeah, 1 page above that.
Yeah, so the inline hyperlinks, again, still there, still not working correctly. So, oh god, contest roll. Okay, so that was contest. Yeah. Then we have a couple more rolls, ruin rolls. Your ruin shows how much the forest has dug its claws into you, including physical and mental harm you suffered. It starts at 1 plus 1 for each ritual you start the game with. When you witness or undergo something disturbing, you will roll 1 dark die. If you rolled higher than your current ruin, you mark 1. So if you see something so fucked you have to roll, you roll. So I think that's a really interesting mechanic. It feels very like I haven't read Cthulhu Dark, but I feel like that's a Cthulhu Dark thing. Where someone's like, that's that whole concept of like a little bit of like, I saw the Eldritch Horror, so my brain breaks a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Way to go there, bud. The reduction roll. The forest wants revenge. Humans have stolen its secret and gifts and given secrets and gifts and given nothing in return. When you mark 5 ruins, so that's 1 less than maximum, you may now reduce it by acting in the forest's interests. So the reduction roll is really fantastic. Basically, once it's got its claws deep enough into you, if you start helping the forest, you can start to reduce your ruin. How fucked is that?
That's pretty fucked, actually.
Yeah. Destroying treasure, preventing the use of rituals, sabotaging your fellow treasure hunters' exit from the forest. You should do these acts in a way that does not draw attention to yourself. The more it looks like an accident or simple bad luck, the better. Each time you act in the forest's interest, roll 1 light die. So the end of this game, like I feel like about 2/3 of the way in, devolves into PvP madness.
Yeah, it gets really chaotic and dark.
I want to play this game so fucking bad it hurts, dude. Like, if you act in the interest, you get that 1 light die. If you rolled less than your current ruin, your betrayal goes unnoticed and you remove 1 ruin. If you rolled higher than or equal to your ruin, you decide whether or not to remove 1 ruin. If you do, someone notices. Otherwise, your attempt goes unseen. So that's very meta, because obviously the people at the table, know what you did, but the characters don't, which is an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a table that can do that. So
yeah, the way you could do, especially if you're on a VTT though, is a whisper roll to the GM. That would be really interesting. Yeah. You may continue reducing your ruin in this way when your ruin drops below 5 until you are back at your starting ruin. Your ruin can never go below the amount you start the game with. So, so if you start with 4, you can never go below 4. If you get 1 ruin as your character that you built already, you're already in a point where you can start fucking over the characters.
Dude, that's crazy. That's a narrow, you know?
Yeah. Well, I bet you there's a lot of people that just don't start with any ruin. They're like, fuck rituals, man. Like maybe 1, you know? But starting with 3 rituals, you're going to be more powerful.
Right.
But I mean, you're also a demonologist. I wouldn't be surprised if that character would just say, fuck it, I know 3. I used to be an apprentice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So I like that. So we're getting into conditions, which I really enjoy this too. Conditions are physical and mental transformations you undergo when a ruin goes up. When you mark ruin as a result of a risk, help, contest, or ruin roll, or other custom roll, the GM offers conditions, but you can work with them to determine exactly how they are affected. Conditions are often tied to the theme of the specific incursion. For example, in the Flocculent Cathedral, an incursion themed around moss, the following condition is provided as an option. A visible cloud of fine jade-colored spores spews out of your mouth whenever you exhale.
Great. Amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
And I love that the condition isn't blinded, deafened.
No, it's like
restrained.
You're really affected by the forest. You're becoming part of the forest, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
And or themed around, like, maybe if it's a ruin and like stone themed
whatever.
one, you might get like stone dust. But yeah, like it's very narrative themed, kind of more. I feel like a lot of the conditions don't feel mechanical. Like when we get to the condition list, it feels more narrative and flavor, but I feel like this game doesn't have a lot of roles. There's not a lot of rules.
Like, there's not, and I guess there's like kind of we'll get there.
Yeah. It's flavor and vibes, man. Like that's what's up. So losing yourself.
Mom spaghetti.
Yep. There we go. So when I was like, do I do it? Nope. So he's gonna wait. There it is. All right. So losing yourself. When you mark your last ruin, meaning all 6 ruin boxes are marked, you lose yourself to the wilds that have been growing inside you. You choose whether you become a monster in the service to the forest, right, and the whims of the GM, or whether you simply die. This is an important moment. Everyone focuses on your last actions before you run screaming into the shadows, turn violently against your fellow treasure hunters, or take your final breath. The GM may allow you to take on a co-GM role, helping describe the terrors of the world, especially any terrors that directly connect to your now lost treasure hunter. Interesting part of this, though. Nowhere in here does it say, once you die, roll up another character and keep going.
It does not say that.
It does not. Once you're dead, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, because here's the thing. This is designed for one-shots, really. Like, it really is designed for one-session games. So if you happen to die, go crack a brewski, buddy. Like, you dead.
Get out.
Yeah. Bye. Or I like this code GM bit where it's like, all right, like, you take the monsters now, and I'll keep doing the forest bits. You know, that's really cool. So there is a whole section of safety tools here. Listen, this should be in the beginning. I don't have a problem with where it sits. But I also think that this could very easily be up at the top prior to character creation, and especially prior to Devil's Bargain rolls. You know what I mean? The other thing too with where things go is you read the whole thing, so it kind of doesn't matter where it is. But I do feel like this it would be better suited in the beginning.
I am inclined to agree with you.
Yeah. This is another another URL that's not hyperlinked. Anyway, though, even if it was, it might not work. So safety tools. It's just a section on safety tools. There is do everything in everyone's best intention. They recommend script change as an option. It contains tools specifically for navigating difficult content and uses terms that are familiar to most people. It has the pause, rewind, fast forward, frame by frame option, and it actually, instead of just a link out, it shows you those things. So these are things that you can use, especially in a dark narrative section with a game that is so narrative built that a lot of times the roles aren't the focus, it's the story you're telling. Someone can just be like, actually pause, so pauses the game, takes a break from intense scenarios. Rewind takes you back a little bit of time. You can suggest how much. Fast forward means, hey, this is a bit much for me, let's just kind of cruise through this part. And frame by frame means frame by frame through a scene they want to approach with care. This slows the story down so everyone can pause as they need to check in through each part. So if things get real dark, do that. You can do any of those tools to do that. I like that, and especially in this style of game, I think this is a really, really appropriate tool for more of like a narrative based safety tool. Really, I agree. Really good. Yeah. Lastly, take some time after the game to debrief, reflect, do all that kind of stuff. Make sure everyone remembers that it's just a game and everyone loves each other, and then move on. What else we got here? So there's a whole GM guide here. So we're going to cruise through this a little bit, but I do like this section here. Before you start, you pitch the game, right? Give people a little something. Tropy Dark is thematically and mechanically different than a lot of like trad games or whatever. Make sure people know that. Make sure that people know that the game is highly collaborative and improvisational. Make sure that they know the characters will probably die, right? And then for a short introduction, you can use the following sentence. One sentence as an intro to a game. That's all you really need. And that sentence is, Tropy Dark is a game about doomed treasure hunters entering a forest or other haunted space that doesn't want them there. Boom. Great. Love that.
Amazing.
Whole page of media touchdowns. How many of these have you seen?
Several of them. Although I will say the one that I was most interested in and I haven't listened to is The Old Gods of Appalachia. It's a podcast. I actually pulled up their website after seeing this.
I'm gonna
start listening to it because it very much seems like a thing I'd be into.
I feel like I've heard this. Is this a Monty Cook game?
What?
Old Gods of Appalachia? I feel like he put out a game about Old Gods in Appalachia.
This is a podcast, but I'm into it. Oh, play the game. Hold on. Play the game. Is there a tabletop game? It is a Monty Cook game. Look at you. Wow, it's funny. Listen, I'm the Monty Cook games guy too.
You are. Listen, I don't mind Monty Cook's flavor. I'm not, the biggest fan of Cypher. But I saw that. I almost backed it. I think Jason might have actually backed it. I'll see if he's got that. Maybe we can take a peek at it. But it looked really dark and fucked up. So it's cool. So anyway, for those that aren't looking at this thing, it is Aguirre, The Wrath of God, which is the film, Annihilation, which is a novel and a film, Apostle, which is a film, Black Swan is a film, Blair Witch Project, Dark Souls video games, A Field in England, which is the film, Midsummer is a film, Mathaga Wood is a novel, Old Gods of Appalachian, which is the podcast and game, The Ritual is a movie, The Ruins is a novel and a movie. The Wicker Man it says a 1973 film and specifically does not mention the later remake.
I mean, listen.
Yeah, right. So the Witch movie, The Witcher, The Last Wish novels, and the Yellow Brick Road film. So I've seen Annihilation, Apostle, Black Swan, Blair Witch. I've played some Dark Souls, watched Midsummer. I've seen The Ritual. I've seen Wicker Man. I've seen The Witch. I've read a lot of The Witcher. So yeah, this really hits. Witcher? Yeah. Oh yeah. I never played the video game, but I've read a bunch of the books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, especially all the short story stuff and that. So yeah. That's I'm sad that Henry Cable's not. Anyway, so I would love gathering supplies. I would love some trophy die. I bet they have some.
That'd be really cool.
I want some. Yeah. So gather supplies. You need a GM. You need a handful of dice. You need a character sheet. All this stuff. Set expectations.
You need the stuff you need.
You need this. It's a game. Set expectations. Describe the game. Describe the aim. Describe the tone. Describe the subject matter. Use your safety tools. Getting to the GM principles. This is the important part of this whole section. So these, again, principles for players, you should have principles for GMs too. So address the players as their treasure hunters. So talk to them as their character because it is a very narrative-based improvisational group storytelling, group narrative game, not storytelling. So be in character, right? Address the players as co-storytellers. Like I just said, it's collaborative game. So address them, give them the options to take the reins and run with it. Don't be the storyteller. You are helping get the story moving and asking for prompts and stuff and giving prompts. The next one is make the treasure hunter stories dangerous and tragic. We already talked about that. Get your heart fucked. Make the world haunted and hungry. Ask pointed questions and build on the answers. Drive wedges. Never let a good idea go to waste, and return to the theme. Great principles, I think, for any game, especially dark games that you want to play.
Very much.
Yep. Really beautiful, awesome, haunting piece of art on the next page. It's like a deer, coming from a light area into a dark area, so it's backlit from the back, but his eyes are glowing in the shadow. This is a solid fucking piece.
Spooky deer
is what's up. So there's a breakdown of the anatomy of an incursion. So as we said before, incursions are the adventures written for this game, and there are specific ways to make those incursions. So the first is the theme, right? So the theme is typically a single evocative word: sleep, water, masks. Pick something and run with it. Be evocative. Right. There's an introduction. So talk to the players about the incursion, what brought them there, the information that they might need for the geography, for the history. Make sure they are aware of enough of the location that they can play without having to be so wait, what? The whole time, Many incursions include a poem or evocative language to set the mood. Again, more vibes, vibe heavy.
Very vibey.
Moments. Yeah, so good. Moments are great, right? Well, anyone that knows us knows that we're big fans of Source of Victory. Source of Victory has a whole fucking online class about moments. Moment-based design is really, really a great way to do that. So moments are short, descriptive scene fragments that reinforce a theme. A moment in incursion with the theme sleep might be thousands of dragonflies in torpor attached to a tree and tents. Love that. Torpor is a good word. Mm-hmm. For water, it might be pools. Fill in your footprints as you lift your boots from the thick gray mud. Pepper moments into your narration as they lead into a new ring. Moments are also good opportunities to reveal the fates of previous adventurers bound for the same treasure. For example, a game with the theme of water might have the moment 3 bloated bodies float down amongst the mangroves. Great. Conditions are the ways the forest manifests in the treasure hunter. For sleep, I like that they use the same kind of word throughout to kind of give you a vibe of the whole way through. So sleep says your dominant arm is plagued by constant feeling of pins and needles, or you find written words illegible as if in a dream. Man, I'll tell you what. Probably my senior year of high school and a bunch of college, I would fall asleep in class a lot because, I'm a night person, so morning classes were rough. The number of my notes where I can write normal and then the letters just get smaller and smaller, then just become lines, and then there's a squiggle where I woke up. I'll tell you what, it's half my shit. So that'd be interesting to see on a parchment. Conditions provide the incursions with a bunch of cool suggestions and stuff like that. Rings is the important part.
Rings are cool. Rings are maybe potentially my favorite part of the incursion anatomy.
Well, not only do I love the concept of the ring gets smaller, so you're getting deeper into the middle of the forest, but it's also rings on a tree, dude.
Whoa, dude.
Inside the tree, you know what I'm saying?
Holy
Isn't that
shit,
good?
bro.
Right? Yeah. But there's also a at the end of the rings bar, there's a log here that kind of looks like a sliced log with the rings in it.
Definitely does, yeah.
But I love that. That is such a clever thing. The mechanically works really well, but again, rings in a tree is just such a really great way to do a dark forest game. But yeah, so why do you love rings? You want me to read through what rings are first, or do you want to tell you why you love that?
I'll just do the touch on rings. So basically, there is, like Brian described, there are multiple rings going from large to smaller, and as your player characters, the treasure hunters progress through these rings, they offer terrors and temptations, and I just like that. It's ring 1, the terrors are there to make them feel confident in themselves, right? Temptations are just connect them to the wider world of wealth. And as they progress deeper into the forest, the terrors get worse and the temptations get greater to where I think the second to last ring or so, the terrors are actually made to chase them deeper into the forest. into a even worse situation. I like how that's structured.
Really. Yeah. I mean, the terrors, I think it said earlier that the terrors, really set the mood and the danger and the temptations pull them in closer, and it's great. And like you said, it's really great. The terrors in Ring 1 build confidence. In Ring 2, they're environmental. In Ring 3, they create suspicion. In Ring 4, they're monstrous. And in Ring 5, they're psychological. Like you said, like at 4, I think you said they chase them in deeper, which is great. Like it's good. Yeah. This probably is my favorite part too. And even the temptations, right? In 1, they're ephemeral. In Ring 2, it shows overwhelming evidence so that they're going in the right way or something. In 3, they're personal. Because I think by Ring 3, your ruin's high, and you might be working for the Force already.
Yeah.
In Ring 4, the temptations are desperate. And in Ring 5, they are always possessions of the treasure hunters or thing they perceive to be possessions of. Like, oh, God. They really fuck you up in this game. So, epilogue, it's not an official part of the incursion structure, but it's nice to have, ask everybody, debrief everything. There's a section on additional tips. Consider the number of players, follow where the collaborator leads, stay in medias res. Like any good movie, the best role-playing sessions start with characters already in the middle of action, right? So start in medium res. So don't roll if the stakes don't matter. Frame your transitions, linger on the magical and the monstrous, and that's it. Using with other games. So you can actually use this game during other games. So you can use it as a flashback scene. You can use it as a funnel into Trophy Gold, which I think is really fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah, you can use it as a framework. And then there is the scout. Yeah, that's it. So does it just jump instantly into, this is still the GM's guide? Is it just, this is just like an example of an incursion?
Oh, okay.
Is that what it says? Yeah, I think that's just a quick example of an incursion. So it gives you like, the Scoundrel's Quarter. It says defining the Scoundrel's Quarter. There's the Keeper of the Bestiary, there's seasonal festivities, there's a neighboring ruin, there's a propitiating the forest, and then it hops into Trophy Gold, a small memento. So this is the sample Trophy Gold incursion right off the bat, and we're not really going to get into that, but it's great. So that's Trophy Dark. So real quick before we jump into Trophy Gold, and we're not going to hit the whole book. We're really just going to touch on the 1 or 2 real big differences. What are your thoughts on Trophy Dark so far?
I really like it. A super good one-shot game, Yeah. Like, I think I would need a table of people that are not going to take it personally when they go at each other's throats. Because like there is a point in this game where it's like, you guys are going to start fucking each other over.
Hard,
but hard. I think it's really cool. I like that it's mostly narrative and very, very mechanically simple. And I really like the fact that it's like at a certain point your ruin so high, it's like, hey, listen, if you want your ruin to be lower and your character to keep going, just fuck over your friends a little bit. You really only, if you do it 2 or 3 times, then you're pretty good at that point, right?
Dude, I feel like if you have a good Trophy Dark group, you have a good Kingdoms group.
Yeah. So I don't know. We did a funnel adventure, and a couple of my players took that shit a little personally. They died so many times. I'm like, I don't know if I can play Kingdoms with y'all. You're being a little sensitive. So
we really need to get a solid Kingdoms group together and a solid Trophy Dark group together of people that like, listen, if you fucked me over so hard I died, I would be so proud of you. I'd be like,
I would. The thing is, like, I find that shit hysterical.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm like, it's the funniest thing. Like, I mean, personally, I also think that dying in a funnel adventure is a blast, and you should try to die more, like, amazingly. So
you know what DCC has that I really want to snag, but I haven't yet, are these stamps. They're like $15 a pop, but it's literally like every time you die, it gets stamped on your page and you write how you died. What I really genuinely want to do if I ever start running DCC funnels is get everybody like a little book. Like they're super cheap little like moleskin, like little books, or like the what are they called? Scout notes or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
A field
notes.
Guide. Field notes.
And literally have it like a passport, right? And like if you die, stamped time, date, and how. And it also has like a quest completed stamp. and some other thing I can't remember, but where you literally is just like, all right, we're doing another DCC funnel. You died, boom. You died, boom. You died, boom. Hey, you beat it. Here you go, boom. There you go. And literally create like DCC death and success passport. That would be dope as fuck.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Getting into Trophy Gold now is because we're going to go over both. But here's the thing. As we said before, Trophy Gold really just builds on Trophy Dark in a way that, you know, as we've said over and over again, you're really not going to survive in Trophy Dark. And here's the thing. If you're the last one that somehow makes it out with like 5 ruin and conditions don't really go away, so you're breathing fucking moss and like have a stone arm and shit, and you limp your way out of the forest, you're not really going anywhere. Like, I mean, is it better to survive? I don't know. That's the thing. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very fair. It's like, yeah, I mean, you survived. What's left of you survived, you know?
Right. And that's cool. Good job. Good for you. Okay. But here's the thing. So people, but some people want to do a little bit more with that, right? Some people want the options to go back in, right? And that is what brought around Trophy Gold. Okay. So as we kick over to Trophy Gold, I love it. I love that there's a different logo for it. There's like, it's like a sun with a dot in the middle. Like it's again, great fucking vibes. And even the book, again, it's not gold, but it's an image of a doorway with this like Medusa head on it and snakes are running down. And the doorway is this like goldish color.
The door is so cool.
It's so good. Like, it's a and not only that, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you see a little dude
there's a person
with a shield.
You're like, oh and fuck, it's a big ass door.
You realize how fucking big the door is. It's crazy. Yeah. So same thing. There's a bunch of character options right off the beginning with your drive, your rituals, everything right off the knock. Another very similar page at the beginning with a piece of parchment, some writing on it. It also makes a little bit more sense when you think about the incursions, how it said that sometimes they have like a poem bit or a narrative bit or something that keeps it going. So the beginning of the book makes a little more sense. But also this one has like a gold piece on it, which I think is a great nod to like its Trophy Gold. Like really, really cool. Trophy Gold. Also, this one only goes to 36 pages, and then it's got from page 43 to 250 is all incursions, again with the mega dungeon at the end. Also, I don't think you can do a mega dungeon in Dark because you die, but in Gold you can survive a little bit more. Now,
okay, so let's go through what are the major differences.
Major differences, and we'll cruise through stuff as we go, but the biggest differences when we get to it are hunt rolls and combat rolls. So in Trophy Dark, your main beating, the beating heart of Trophy Dark is the risk roll. Risk roll, right? In this game, there are hunt rolls and combat rolls. Hunt rolls, we'll get to it, but those are the two biggest parts. Is Trophy Dark is really about digging in and trying to find some type of treasure or whatever, but like it's almost kind of like it's a goal, but you're going to die getting there. Trophy Gold is more designed for your treasure hunters to be successful, but have to keep going back in and back in and back again, thereby continuing to risk themselves over and over and over again, hoping to eventually pay off the debt that they did accrue for their drive or whatever. And the big difference too, besides the hunt rolls, with the combat rolls, you can actually fight monsters now. That's what makes it a little different.
Fight monsters.
So there's actually hope that you can.
I would totally run this as Dark as a funnel adventure for Gold.
To get to Gold.
That's exactly how I would run this.
Yeah, yeah. And the great thing is, even if everybody dies, you can create characters based on people that know about those people going into to find out what happened in them kind of situation, and then that can lead to Gold even. So yeah, great way to do it. So kicking off into Trophy Gold, just to hit on the highlights and give you a little vibes for Gold and how it's different. There's a great page here for a deadly hunger, right? This is another narrative bit off the beginning. And then the what is this? Again, it says Trophy Gold is a role-playing game about treasure hunters. We did that before. The game tells the story of treasure hunters' obsessive drive to seek even greater riches in a desperate bid to stay alive. It's a collaborative push your luck rules and roles game, the sister game of Dark, and blends them with the survive by your wits mentality of old fantasy RPGs. So instead of the ever increasing power that comes with leveling up found in other games, treasure hunters and trophy gold remain fragile, meaning death is always one roll away. So there's still high risk, but again, this one, it's more survivable, but you have to keep going back, which makes it less survivable the more times you do it, which is great. So player guide here, we don't need to go. Character sheet, we don't really need to go, except there's 5 steps on this one, right? The difference being step 4, choose your backpack equipment and combat equipment and set your burdens, right? So your burdens are a measure of how much debt or other financial obligations you have, and thus how much gold you need to recover from the forest before returning to town. Your burdens start at 1, but for each piece of combat equipment you choose, increase your burdens by 1. You must have a weapon to participate in a combat roll. So in the same way that rituals add to your ruin, your combat equipment adds to your burdens.
Perfect. Super easy to transition from Dark to this. It's the same thing. It's just a little different. Same thing.
It's a great, I love when games add something but use the same mechanic so that it's not, you don't have to learn something different.
Yeah, slides perfectly in. Very cool.
So yeah, it does. So the trophy gold sheet is definitely bigger than the other one.
It's more of a character sheet. It's exactly more.
Well, and in the dry, yeah, still numbered. The sheet is great, but if we go back to number 3 real quick, it says in the dry, there's a little bit different thing called 2. It's called over the course of the game, you will collect treasure measured in gold, some of which can be stashed away in your hoard to support your drive. When you save 50 gold in your hoard, you achieve your drive and can retire. You start with 0. So you can actually save up the gold. So there's actually a spot in the character sheet marked for all of your hoard. So it's really great. So character name, occupation, hoard, rituals. There's a whole section here for combat equipment and your burdens off to the side. So the character sheet, as you said, definitely much more of a character sheet. Whole section for backpack equipment, whole section for found equipment, whole section for combat equipment. It's, you know, is this hyperlinked? No. Okay. So, yeah. More character options, etc., etc., etc. What does this mean? We've talked about that already. So backpack options. Why don't you roll up some backpack options? Roll once and write down all 3 items.
Where'd my dice roller go? Huh? Where'd my dice roller go? Guys, it's fine. It's right here. Okay. I'm rolling 2d6, right?
Yeah.
5, 4. 5.
Wait a minute. Roll 1 and write it down. Backpack items. It says 1 or 2, 3 or 4,
so
5 or 6.
4. Yes. I got candles, 2 hours dim, mirror, small steel, and perfume.
6 uses of that perfume.
6 uses. Just in case.
All right.
Kind of look pretty.
Yeah. Those sound like demon summoning equipments to me. You know what I'm saying? It is. It does
actually.
So, all right. Additional backpack equipment. Your backpack has 6 slots for 6 items, but when you select your backpack equipment, you only get 3 items. What are the other 3 slots? Though you are foolish enough to be a treasure hunter, you are not so foolish as to go unprepared. When you rummage around in your backpack, you have open slots. You can pick any item from the additional backpack equipment table found in the back end papers. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, right, there is a whole fat section here of additional backpack equipment. So pick or roll for any item you want. So why don't you roll 3 times real quick?
5, 3.
Okay, so that is lockpicks.
3, 5, which is honey.
Ooh.
And then a 3, 6, which is an hourglass.
There we go. Still sounds very demon ritual-y.
You know, Beelzebub, I'm sure, loves honey, man. So
listen, well, you're also in the forest, so you know that axe murderer Winnie the Pooh situation is, you know, it's a thing now.
So fucking stupid.
Yep. So character combat equipment options. Add 1 burden for each item you choose. But let's get to the combat section because I think we come back to this. It's interesting that it's Oh, there's a how to play section. Oh, wait, why is there a combat? Did I miss a section that talked about combat a little bit more, or not really?
No, it's how to play, and you're gonna go down, and from there it's under rolling dice, and there's the hunt roll and risk roll.
Gotcha. Yeah, but there's a table here at the top that
and then combat roll under that.
Yeah, and then I guess you'll come back for the combat equipment section. So yeah, how to play. We already talked about that. Player principles. They're all so these are a little bit different. So be curious. Both as a player and as a character you're playing as an explorer. Play to win. Play like your character's life depends on it, because in this game it does. But also play to lose. Your luck will run out. Embrace it at the end. So try to win until you know you can't, and then try to lose. You know? I like that. How there's a little bit of a tweak and a little bit of a vibe change. So the hunt roll, as we said, is the biggest fucking difference in this, right? So the hunt roll works very similar to the risk roll, but for different reasons, right? So in the hunt roll, nearly all of the actions in the game flow out of it. It's common to move immediately from the result of a hunt roll into a combat roll or risk roll. The purpose of the hunt roll is twofold: to learn about the world and to collect a meta game currency called hunt tokens. Yeah. When you press ever deeper in pursuit of a specific and immediate goal, either the set goal or a separate goal, say how you are exploring the environment, then gather 6-sided dice. You take a light die just for exploring the world and ask the GM questions. And you take another light die if you have an appropriate skill. So not really doing a whole lot of dark dice situation here. That's it. Like, you're just rolling around, exploring, figuring out what's going on. And if you have a skill, you just do that. There you go. If your highest die is a 1, you lose all your hunt tokens and encounter something terrible. Only the player rolling loses their tokens, since the tokens are gained and lost individually. So it is different. It's not a 1 to 3. On a 1, you're fucked. On a 2 to 3, right, you encounter something terrible. Right. On a 4 to 5, you gain a hunt token, but you also encounter something terrible. And on a 6, you gain 1 hunt token. I love this. This is such a great mechanic for finding out information, random rolling, random encounters, like everything. This is such a great mechanic for exploring an area.
Yeah, I really like this a lot. I also love that it's just like on 5 of 6, it's like, yeah, you encounter something terrible.
Yep. So you're pretty much always going to encounter something terrible, which is fantastic. But 4 through 6 get you a hunt token. So like half of the die rolls get you what you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. A GM will provide answers to your exploration and independent of the result of the die. The quality of the answers depends on what you roll. The immediacy of the danger also depends on that. On a 1 to 3, the encounter is present and threatening, such as a monster on a trap. But on a 4 to 5, it's, that concept of like signs of it. So danger signs, ominous sounds, things like that. So it's very similar to like, the vanilla game and stuff like that, where it's either right on top of you or you see a clue and it's around the corner or something. So hunt tokens are a metagame currency that allow players some narrative control. 1 token can be spent to find a treasure with 1 gold. Spending 3 tokens allows the treasure hunter to achieve a goal. This is a set goal, but can be any goal. Tokens are gained and lost individually, but also pooled as a group. If a treasure hunter dies, your tokens can be claimed as gold by their companions. Then there's a risk roll, which we've already gone over. Don't need to do that again. Right. We've already gone over Devil's Bargains. We've already gone over that. It's really almost the exact same page, but I do like that they tweak the art a little bit. I think they do. Yeah.
But the combat roll.
The combat roll is, I think this is one of the bigger, there's like 2, it's like a page and a half for this, which is honestly like the longest narrative of a roll, but really a lot of it is the, there's like a narrative section here. But so when you attempt to defeat a monster, you combine efforts with your fellow treasure hunter. So it's a group roll to beat something. So first, say how you expose yourself to injury or attack, then roll 1 light die. The number on the die is called your weak point and represents the risks you are facing to face the monster. If multiple characters are involved, each rolls their own die. Then you gather a dark die for each character involved in the attack. Whew. So everyone involved gets, rolls their own light die, and then there's a dark die for everyone in the situation. So say what weapons you're using.
It's a stack dark die every time very quickly,
Dude, like, so there is, you can fight, but God, it sucks, versus Trophy Dark, where it's like, you just can't.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that it does give you the option. So it is a slightly more survivable game, I feel. Slightly. marginally. So you say what weapons you're using against a monster, then roll all the dice together. To defeat a monster, you must roll against the monster's endurance, which is set between 2 and 12. The GM may reduce the endurance if you have relevant skills, etc., on are taking advantage of equipment, or has the weakness of a monster. If the endurance would go below the number of dark dice you rolled, then no combat roll is required. You just you beat it, because you couldn't roll below that anyway. So the GM may increase increase the endurance if it's particularly tough. If the endurance would go above 12, the monster's too difficult to fight, and you have to either figure out a way to reduce it or retreat. If the total of the two highest dark die is equal to or higher than the endurance, the monster is defeated in the manner you and your players describe, and you collect the gold. So dark die are kind of good so far, kind of. So
yeah,
if any of the dark dice equals your weak point, your character's ruin increases by 1 for each dark die matching the weak point. Again, I love that because it's the same mechanic as like help, which means you've seen it before and it's not new. It's just used in a different way, which is a really great way to do all rules. You can choose to mark a piece of your armor to ignore all ruin. Increases for your treasure hunter doing a single roll. When you can choose to mark a piece of armor to ignore all ruin increases for your treasure hunter during a single roll. Wow. Describe how your armor absorbs to hit to protect you. Marked armor is unusable until you safely return to town. So you kind of have this hit protection situation with your armor.
Yeah, like damage soak, kind of,
Well, it's not, because once you hit it, it's useless. So instead of soak, it's more like I get like armor points, kind of like you have 5 to spend, and if you take 5 damage, it's done. At this point, if a player wants their treasure hunter to retreat, that player must hand their weak point light die over to another player, who now suffers if either their original weak point number or the new number comes up during a reroll of the dark die. If both light die show the same number, the treasure hunter must reroll one of the die to a different number. A treasure hunter who retreats in this manner can do so without triggering a risk roll or any other consequence for themselves, but the number of dark die rolled never goes down, even when a treasure hunter leaves a fight. Bro, so if you want to bail, you're fucking your buddies over.
Yeah. Here, hold this for me.
Right? If the 2 highest dark die are less than the monster's endurance, and you wish to continue the attack, add 1 more dark die and re-roll all the dark die. You may keep adding a dark die and re-rolling until you defeat the monster, or until all treasure hunters give up the fight or die. Keep in mind that each re-roll increases the odds of your own ruin going up. Retreating as a group from your incomplete fight may trigger risk rolls or other consequences. Again, it uses that same mechanic of the risk roll within the combat roll that you can keep adding, but you can get fucked. And talked about risk rolls in combat. Rather than participating directly, you can attempt to weaken the monster with a risk roll. Say you were trying to weaken the monster. The risk roll, if you roll a 4, 5, or 6, you reduce the monster's endurance by 1. If you're using a ritual as part of your risk roll, see rituals in combat. So range weapons in combat. This is pretty much the last kind of bit we need to go over in this, and then we're pretty much done. Range weapons such as bows, crossbows, and slings can be treated as other weapons when used in combat. However, range weapons may be used to reduce a monster's endurance by putting your ammunition and the use of your weapon at risk. Range weapons start with 3 slots of ammo. Make a risk roll to reduce endurance as normal, but instead of a devil's bargain, add a light die for each unmarked slot of ammunition you're willing to risk. For each light die that comes up 1, 2, or 3, mark a slot of ammunition. When you have no unmarked slots, you can no longer use this weapon. You can spend 1 gold back in town. So really, range
weapons are like kind of the go, huh?
Well, if you stay far back and chip away until your ammo's gone, you can reduce the endurance enough that you have the so if you do come across someone whose endurance is 12 or higher and you couldn't beat it, stay back, hit him with some ranged weapons, use up some of your ammo, reduce that to like 8 or 9, then go into the combat roll, hit the melee stuff, and keep going. Great way to do it. But also, I love how simple this is, but how extraordinarily deadly it is, and how the rules encourage tactical, thoughtful play.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Rituals in combat, there's a whole section here. So basically same thing. Before the combat roll, declare whether you're using magic to weaken or attack. For weakening, you may not participate in combat roll, instead do a risk roll as above. On a 1 to 3, you don't reduce a monster's endurance and you suffer a consequence. On a 4 to 5, you reduce the endurance by 1, and on a 6, you reduce the endurance by 2. For a direct attack, you may be able to treat your ritual as a weapon, rolling a weak point and combat die. This is especially risky with magic. However, as a GM may require you to roll a risk roll before using a ritual this way. So you have more rolls, you roll more option for ruin and failure.
Well, so many opportunities to fail on that.
Yeah. And then help rolls, contest rolls, conditions, losing yourself. So burden and gold, and then that's really that's about it. So gold is an abstract value. It really just helps you retire and get the fuck out. So gold can be found in one of 3 ways: uncovered naturally during the course of an incursion. It can be found spontaneously by spending a hunt token, or it can be harvested by a defeated enemy. Roll a number of die equal to the final endurance the monster was defeated at, which is interesting. The higher you allow the endurance to be when you defeat it, the more gold you get. If you knock the endurance down to like nothing before you do your combat roll, you don't get a lot of gold. Yeah. Burns in spending gold. When you embark on a hunt for treasure, you are making a commitment. You must recover a certain amount of gold to pay off your debts. You start the game with 1 burden plus an additional burden for each piece of combat equipment you choose to start with, reflecting the cost of upkeep. So if you want to start with a bunch of combat equipment, you have to keep going back in and get more and more and more gold to get rid of all your burdens. You may take 1 additional burden over the course of the game. So there's household. Access to a higher quality of life automatically heals you of 1 ruin and clears all conditions when you return home. So that's another burden you have to have. A library. You can acquire a few small spell books you can carry with you on your journey. Studying them unlocks new rituals at a cost of 1 burden per ritual. And then training. You have a mentor training you in the use of new skill. Each skill you acquire costs 1 burden. Library is interesting because you could take a ritual with burden as opposed to with ruin. So you have to pay off more, but you don't risk your ruin destroying it. So, yep. And then there's other burdens that you can have, other things you can spend gold on, and things. There's carousing, where you spend 1 gold in town, but you can get information on monster weaknesses. There's equipment. You can spend 1 gold in town to open up a single crossed out slot in your backpack. There's healing. You spend 1 gold to get rid of 1 ruin, which does not exist in Trophy Dark. I like that you can use money to heal a little bit for the ruin you have. And then there's hoard. You stash your gold in your hoard. Once you have 50, you're good to go. And that's it. There's also hirelings. You can hire them. Yeah, you can, for 2 burdens, they get 2 skills, 2 pieces of equipment, 3 ruin. For each additional skill you mark off, or ritual, you get another burden. For each additional reduction of ruin, you mark another burden. So burdens are very heavy in this game. Yeah, which really
keep going in and getting that money, man.
That's it. There's a whole section around backpack equipment, combat equipment, found equipment. It talks about the bestiary. It also talks about campaign sheets and the kind of various differences between that and the original incursion. Safety tools. Once again, there's a game master guide, which is very similar to the other one. The pitch, the supplies, the expectations. The principles are roughly the same. And then this is one of my favorite pieces of art here.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's like a giant, almost stone looking jaguar thing coming out from between some other stones. Yeah, but the eyes and mouth are glowing with this red, and it's massively overshadowing this guy who's swinging an axe, and damn, he's not gonna win. And that's it. And that's really the big difference between trophy and gold. Really, the huge difference is the hunt roll, the combat roll, and the options for burdens and the various things you can spend burdens on. Which really is a great...
having gold as a resource, using it to heal, ruin, that's pretty big, Yeah.
That's huge.
I mean, very cool.
Also, libraries, household, hirelings. And the interesting thing, though, is the more of those things you use to help you, the more you have to play to pay it off. It's almost like real life, It's crazy. So that's Trophy, right? Spend money on things and then be in debt. Late stage dystopian capitalism, everybody. Woo! All right. Getting into the review, because I think this is book review. I mean, we did 2 books, 80 pages of rules across the 2.
I'm good. This is 1. It's 1.
Yeah, I just put trophy. Yeah,
Trophy.
I mean it's the same vibe. It's just honestly, trophy gold is just kind of like expanded optional rules, realistically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like 5e.
It's an optional game that you don't have to take that option. Trophy art. So for, again, real quick breakdown of what we do. It is a numerical metric of what we think about the game, broken into 5 different sections. Art and style is the quality and quantity of the art within the book, the style in which it's laid out, all those kind of things, vibes, all that stuff. Layout is how well the book, how readable the book is, if it has bookmarks, hyperlinks, physical, if it has ribbons, all that kind of stuff. Really, the physical layout of the book, the navigability, readability. Rule set is, if it's a new rule set, is it cool, fun, and interesting? If it's an adapted rule set, how well is it adapted? Are there any unique elements, things like that? Originality is kind of a broad category. A lot of it fits into like setting and lore, but also if it's new rule set that's got some real uniqueness to it, a real originality even, that would go in here. So really whatever shines across all of these things. And then value, bang for your buck, how much it costs, how much you get for how much you spend, online resources, expanded content, third-party licenses, generators, all that stuff. It's bang for your buck, that's value. So art and style, thoughts?
So it's got really good art. It's got really good art, but there is a lot of pages that have nothing on it. You know? I'm scrolling through, especially when you get into incursions and stuff. I'm scrolling through Dark right now. And there are several instances where there are many pages back to back with no art.
I don't disagree with you about the incursion section, but I really think the incursions as like adventures, it doesn't really bother me in the incursion, since a lot of it is just really like tables and info, but they do have beautiful art at the beginning of each incursion.
Yeah,
but
at the beginning of each incursion, yeah.
In the first 40 pages, though.
So even in, I guess that's the kind of, it's like most of this book is just incursions, you know?
Yeah.
Pull gold back up.
But in the first like 40 pages, even in Dark, there's a lot of pages of full art. And there's a lot of art, like the page with the knight that has the player principles on, where the remember that with like the knight with the shield, and then the player principles are white over that. A lot of that, I mean, the parchment pages. Again, player's guide, full page art, next page, third page art, next page, half page art, a couple of tables, tables don't have any art, then how to play, half page art, then another piece of full page art, then another piece of full page art, 1 page without art, another piece of art, 2 pages without art, 3 pages without another full page piece of art, another half page piece of art. I feel like you don't really go like 2 pages, and I feel like if there's ever time that there's 3 pages without art, the next page is like a full page, and then it hits the incursions. So I don't.
Yeah. So in gold, pretty much between 22 to 33, there's no art.
Okay, so 10 pages in a 250 page book. I don't disagree with you. I mean, like, I don't think every page
this is not getting an 8 in art for me, you know?
Yeah. So art, I think the art that is there is fantastic. I think the way that the art is used is fantastic. What do you think about style? What do you think about the vibes of the book and the art used in the layout and stuff like that?
I mean, I think it's pretty good. I don't think this is like an art book. You know, I think it like has some like, there's not really art used on the pages. There's a lot of like end cap art or like start of chapter art.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, I think the art in this is really good. I'm not looking at this one for the art, you know?
I mean, that's valid. I think I like the art a little bit more. I love the style of the art. I think every single piece is extraordinarily evocative. I think the way in which the art is used is really well done and really evocative, even as far as like the cover and stuff like that. And I think that for books of this size, it does have a pretty decent amount. It's not like Lancer, where we go 50 pages without a piece of art or anything like that.
Yeah, did we give Lancer like a 6 on art or something?
I think we did give Lancer a 6. You think there's only one better than a 6 than Lancer?
Yeah, I would say this is a 7. I mean, I think that threshold, it's not what it's one better. It's like it's a level better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What
I'm
we
trying
give
to
it an
look
8
here.
to?
Into the Odd had an 8, and I feel like it's got a similar thing where it's like there's not a lot on the pages, but a lot of in between. But the art, we love the style on that. But I don't feel like that had any more. What else did we give an 8 to? Viking Death Squad got a 9. Gun and Slinger got an 8. Flayo got an 8. Babes in the Wood got an 8. Frontier Scum got an 8. I don't feel like this. I feel like this has more, you know. I mean, I definitely agree that it's not a 9 or a 10 for sure.
Yeah.
But I think with how evocative the art is, I do think there is quite a bit of it. At least in the rules section before you get to the incursions. I'm between a 7 and 8 on this, but I'm leaning 8. But if you're a heavy 7, you know, that's fine.
I'm still leaning 7. I'm looking through Into the Odd right now, and I'm still leaning 7 on this one.
Okay, we'll go 7 for that's cool. It's valid. My question though, what would you do? What would be different? What would make it an 8 for you?
I would like a little bit more of like the in-page art, especially where there's these big gaps, you know, or even like the tables being a little bit more dressed up because this is such a table-heavy book.
You know what? I think you're right. I think a little bit of art on the table says that you're right. There are pages after pages, but pages sometimes are roll tables.
A lot of the empty spaces can be tables, and there's a lot of tables, and they're really cool. But even scrolling through it really quickly, I was confused by the tables because they're all just like, they're just the same. They're very samey.
Yeah. I mean, I think again. So this is one of those things where like, if we have a bunch of tables that are black on white page, it might drop a little bit in style, but I think that also increases in layout though, because readability of black on white.
I would say the layout of this is really good. So
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm down for a 7 in art. I think also we are being a little bit more critical in this. I'm gonna say this year post, like, you know, the game year recap at 22. So I think a lot of the scores we've given are a little bit. Oh, let me hide that. Are a little bit more critical this year for that. Yeah. But yeah, so 7. So layout then. Thoughts on layout then? I mean, so here's the thing. It does have bookmarks. It does have a completely indexed hyperlink. It does have inline hyperlinks, although it seems like some are broken and need to be fixed a little bit. That might be a PDF export issue though, which doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah.
Even as a hyperlink guy. But the fact that the index is completely hyperlinked and bookmarked, and for the most part there are attempts at all of the inline hyperlinks, and that all 3 books have different color ribbons, just for navigation, I feel pretty I'm not really gonna knock them that hard for having a couple of broken links in it.
Right. What are you thinking?
I don't know. Well, so that's just navigation, but as far as like actual visual layout, I think the readability on this is high.
The readability is great. The flowcharts are great. There's also God. The flowchart continue in the incursions as well. We didn't go through it, but there are some in the incursions, especially in the Roots of Old Calder. The mega incursion has like a really fucking sick hyperlinked flowchart that the hyperlinks work on it, by the way. So, you know, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about this. What do you think? What are you thinking?
I'm an easy 8 on this. Easy 8.
I'm a pretty easy 8 on this as well. So
yeah. I mean, you know, to get really above 8, we've rarely given anything higher than that. And like Troika's a 10, nothing touches it. So the highest you can get is 9.
Troika's like every other page. There's like 4 inline hyperlinks that refer back to another page, and you can just click back. You know, it's
so great, yeah. And even for 9, something like Death in Space, where like they have things where like every like chart or table on it has its own page, and the page of tables is hyperlinked to all those tables, and every chapter is color coded by header colors and stuff like that. So like multiple ribbons. I mean, so that's so far above and beyond. I feel like as far that this is about as good as you can possibly do layout on a game without getting to the point of, like I said, color coding entire chapters, color coding pages, like going above and beyond. I feel like 8 is the best you can possibly do for doing exactly what, you know, needs to be done, and anything beyond that is a beyond. So 8 is peak for me for layout for most things. Rule set, just general thoughts.
It's a really solid rule set. I mean, there's not like a lot to it. frankly. But the use of light and dark dice, the kind of pseudo dice puddle that you use, I think it really works really well. And I like the addition of the combat and the hunt roll. I don't know that I'm in love with the hunt mechanics. I kind of want to play it and see. I don't know why. And this might just be me, but the idea of like a meta currency, I don't know. I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it, you know? But it all fits in really well. It all works how you think it would work, especially if you read dark and then you read gold, which is a little more complicated, but not complicated, but it works. It works how you think it would work. How are you feeling? What do you think?
I'm in love with it. I think this, especially reading Hyperborea yesterday and looking into something that's like,
thank God.
like 500-600 pages of just like charts and rules and procedures. And like, I know how much my character weighs and I know what time the sunset, is on like lunar calendar days. And when I look at this, the thing about this that I love is the elegance. I think that something doesn't have to be complicated to be really good rule set. And I think the elegance is so good. And I think the other thing too is like, you can just roll 1 or 2 dice, but like if you when you get to combat rolls, if you have 4 people in combat, you are rolling like sometimes 6+ dice. So the pool, the puddle does get to a pool pretty quickly.
Yeah, it becomes a pool. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Anytime you do push the risk, like you could easily just start with 4 die and then push if you want. So, but I think overall the rules are extremely elegant. I think for what the game wants to be, I think it is the exact correct amount of crunch. I wouldn't want any more rules for the style. I think that the rules themselves reinforce the style of gameplay over and over and over again with the risk rules, with burdens, with everything. I can't, and I don't mind. You know what? I like the hunt roll as it exists, but I do think that the meta currency thing is probably the only thing in either book that gives me any pause at all. I think that there's not a single bit of Dark or Trophy outside of that I'm not madly in love with. I think that is the only thing that, like, not that I dislike it, is that I want to play it and feel how it works. Because the game is so like stay in the narrative, push the storytelling, like that little tiny break into meta gives me like the
most. That's the thing. Maybe that's what it is. It's like this game is so like it's exactly that. It's like, well, you're breaking the fourth wall for this one thing, like
And again, I don't hate it. I have to play it so I can feel it, because it might feel great. Because the other thing too is with your hunt tokens, you cash those in for in-game things anyway that you want to do, like find the gold, do this, do that. But it does kind of feel weird to cash in something meta for something in-game that's so narrative focused.
Yes, that is what feels weird. But still, very solid rule set. I'm sitting at like a good 7 to 8 on this. You know,
so I feel like I'm an easy 8 on this. Like,
I think 8's great.
Okay. Yeah. We've never given a 10, so 9's peak. And honestly, like, I love the rule set. And here's the thing too, is like Trophy Gold seems dope as fuck.
Right.
But Trophy Dark has my soul.
I think I prefer Trophy Dark as well.
Yep. So. And the thing too is like, I feel like there are a lot of things that you can do with Trophy Dark by adding in elements of gold. Even if you didn't like the hunt token, I feel like you could just remove that meta currency and it doesn't change the game at all.
It doesn't change the game at all. No, you absolutely could.
Because you could just really do just the encounters, you know what I mean? Like whether you have something super bad happen or something really good happen, I feel like getting rid of that bit of meta doesn't change, which means, do you really need it? But I think this is an easy 8 for me. And if we were just doing Trophy Dark, if we had not added gold into this, I'd probably give this a 9. I
probably would too. That rule really does throw me off. I almost wonder if like they added. I see, the thing is, I don't know which one came first, but it's almost like they added in 2 new dice rolls. What's up?
Dark.
It's almost like they felt like they needed to add 2 dice rolls and not just 1. So they're adding just a little bit more. But
here's the thing is, I don't mind the hunt roll. I love the mechanic of the hunt roll. I love if you're asking questions, you roll. I love that if you're exploring things, you roll. And I love that I don't, as a GM, that I don't have to determine when an encounter happens.
It's not the roll. I think it's the meta currency.
It's the currency. I think, again, if you dropped out the hunt tokens entirely and just had the hunt roll as a way to encourage exploration and therefore encounters,
there we go.
So you can literally just cross out the hunt token section of it, keep the hunt roll in, and I think it's fucking awesome. You know, you could even use the hunt roll in dark, really, if you wanted to, because you can encourage the exploration, but the rings forces you in anyway in dark. So, you know, you don't need it, but in gold, I feel like you do need it. You just don't necessarily need the meta currency. But I also think that once we're playing it, it wouldn't bother us. I think just in like a very like
analytical way.
There's a slight tweak because there's just a tiny bit of disconnect caused by it. But yeah, easy 8, and if we're just doing dark, it's a 9. Originality, hit me with it.
Originality.
Yep. What are your thoughts? What do you got? What's inside you?
I think, I don't know. What do you think? I'm not really sure.
I love it.
I think it's a really great game.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think so. We know that it is the bastard offspring of Symbaroum, which again I love. We know that it is a mashup of Cthulhu the Dark and Blades in the Dark, even though we haven't read either of them. And I love the rules, but what I love, I think, the most, and what I think is really original about this is this concept of hunting deep into a dark forest. Dark forests are fucking cool as fuck. Right. But the entire concept of the game is literally you're doomed and have no other choice but to try, even though you know you are going to fail. And that how many games do you really play that really sits down and not only encourages you to try anyway, although you're doomed, but is written to be literally a descent into madness where you start together and inevitably end up fighting each other and working for the dark force that has its claws in you, and it will devolve into your madness PvP brawl as your body and mind is broken. The rings concept I think is incredibly interesting, unique, and fun. Cool. Like, I mean, for originality on me for this, like this is super high for me. Not only in, I think the setting is fantastic. I think that the way the rules are written and used is really fantastic. I think the way that the incursions are structured and the way that like the tears and temptation, I think those are amazing mechanics that bring a lot of originality to this concept of this like dark forest fuckery that to me it's high. Like, you know, what are your overall thoughts?
I don't know. I'm a 8 to 9 on this.
I'm an 8 to 9 pretty fucking easily for this. Yeah.
Call it.
I mean, if you let me call it, I'm giving it a 9. I love this game so much, you know? Yeah. I really, really do. I think it really shines specifically in that aspect is like, I want to play a forest that hates me. I want to go in there. I want to be doomed. Break me.
Sure.
You know?
I can do it from Fangorn.
Oh boy. Value. You didn't happen to bring it up already, did you?
So I have everything pulled up. So, if you're going to buy Trophy Dark, it links you, if you go to Gauntlet's site, it links you to Studio 2 Publishing. Each book individually is $45. That is Dark, Gold, and Loom 45 APs. Okay. They have like the Codex Emerald, which is $7, and it's on Drive-Thru RPG.
Is it like POD or is it just digital? Is that just a PDF?
Just a watermark PDF.
Okay.
And if you want, there's the other Dark Codex, which there's $7 and on
$7 for a PDF is not a bad value for additional content.
I think the books at 45 pages, I mean, they're pretty big. There's a lot of incursions in them. Like the value on this goes way up because it's like, you know, if you get just Dark and you get just Dark, that's 12 incursions, right? That's 12 adventures. Like that's going to take you months and months and months to get through, you know?
Also, I mean, again, if we're talking $45 for book quality.
Yeah, it's a high quality book.
It's a high, I mean, again, the cloth bound edges, the ribbons, the pages feel fantastic. I do like how, you know, we have those like black, you know, tabs on the side that does come through on the side of the book.
Nice.
That's the cover is stunning. I mean, as an actual physical book, it is a beautifully well crafted, well done book. You know, I think one of the only nicer books for value that I've ever that I own is that Death in Space book, because that has that gilding on the front, and I think it's only like $35. But as far as like standard prices, and you know, keeping in mind also that, you know, I think a lot of people should raise their prices in the TTRPG industry, but this book to me is a much higher value than like the, you know, PHB. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like $50 of just, you know, fuckery. I think 45 for each
now,
of these.
Baby.
Yeah. I think 45 for each of these is at the very least solid value. How much does it link to a PDF at all? How much are the PDFs individually?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. And I think $7 for the other PDFs is a really solid.
I couldn't find them. I still can't really. Let's see.
Trophy Dark PDF.
I'm on their actual website, so maybe that's a mistake. I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. $15 like codexes and expanded material that's all $7 or $9 a pop. It's how much?
$15 for the PDF. So like, okay, $15 for this PDF.
That's not bad at all. Solid. You get this, you know, you get a couple of these like, you know, codexes that have expanded stuff, more incursions, more backgrounds. Like, you got enough stuff to keep running for quite a while, you know?
Very long time, yeah. And
I mean, I think for this point, this is a pretty high value for me. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'm looking at here. I mean, this is a 9 in value for me, I think. Like, if I can get the books are, in my opinion, a little pricey, but not, I think they're worth it. But like, if I was like a broke guy, which sometimes I am, like, I'm not going to spend $45 on the book, no matter how nice it is, but I'll spend $15 on the PDF and then $7 or $8 extra on another PDF to expand the content, and that alone is like a ton of shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's like a lot of stuff. I'm about a 9 on this one. You know.
Well, I was more of an 8, but like when we really think about it too, I'm pretty positive that Trophy is fully set up in Creative Commons too. Like, unless I'm completely talking out my ass. Trophy is adapted from Cthulhu Dark. Trophy is also based on Blades in the Dark, authored by John Hunter, and licensed for use under Creative Commons 3.0 unprotected licensing. So, you know, it's based on both of those games, which we said, but also it's completely Creative Commons. So you can make whatever the fuck you want with this game. We love a nice, solid, open license. I know this is super random and unnecessary, but I think also adds some value. You can buy t-shirts. You better believe I'm getting a Trophy Dark t-shirt. I love that you can get merch for this. I love merch. Give me more merch for your games. If you're a creator, make a t-shirt. Whatsoever,
but like, I still, man, I think I'm a pretty high for value. I'm pretty high on this one. Probably be the highest I go. It's a 9 for me.
I'm solid on 9 for value on this, really. And honestly, I keep looking at that art and style score, and I want to bump it up by 1. But like, if you're a heavy 7, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna respect that.
Where are the shirts?
Oh, if you just go to tropyrpg.com and scroll down a little bit.
I'm on Gauntlet, so.
But if you go to the Trophy RPG website, there's you click a link that takes you to, and you know what's great about the website is it literally just gives you the price. Trophy Dark is available in PDF for $15 and in print for $45. And then there's links to character sheets, links to options, playing online. Make yourself one of the shareable character keepers. Get the Trophy Dark character keeper, which is fantastic. I mean, yeah, for they give you everything you fucking need to play this game. All you have to do is either buy the $15 PDF or the $45 book, and then they'll give you every other possible resource that you want to play this game. Plus, the book and PDFs comes with so many incursions, you're set forever. I mean, even in Dark with 12 incursions, that's at least 12 sessions. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 9's a solid value for this. I don't think there's any reason to I mean, it's never going to get to a 10 because the game's not free. But I think for the price of the price of the book, getting a 9, it means that there's a lot of shit that comes with this game, and I think it's totally worth it. Okay, so when we add all of that up, we are sitting at a 41.
Nice.
which is, definitely way up there for scores. I mean, 43 is pretty much where we top out. I think Merkborg originally got a 44. In retrospect, it'd probably get more like a 42, 43 if we were to review it. But 41 is right up there with the top like 2 or 3 games we've ever reviewed. And anyway, so it could be 41 to 42, but score total 41 is fantastic. I love the shit out of this game. I want to play it really bad. I think I've talked about side quests already, which is like these one-shot intro to games that I want to do. This is way at the top of the fucking list for a game that I want to play. Just get like 2 or 3 people together. Let me tell you. Oh my god. So yeah, I mean, overall, great fucking games, high fucking vibes, super evocative. Very little I would change about either thing, and I love the fact that there's a setting book on top of it too that really just reinforces even more.
Totally.
Overall, one of my favorite games, period, bar none, of this entire fucking shelf is Tropy, and that is that's our game for the night. So I think you're not going to be here next week, right?
I'm not. My girlfriend's meeting my dad, and I'm meeting her dad because they live in the same fucking city. So
dope. Are they gonna dad out? Is your dad a dad?
Oh, my dad doesn't give a fuck about anything. My dad is like barely there a lot of the time. His brain is somehow always at work and also nowhere. So no, but her dad's super dad like. So
okay.
But yeah, so
that'd be cool though. I mean, listen. Sounds serious.
Honestly, dude, I will say that, like, without a doubt, her ex really set me up to meet her family because he sucked so bad that they already love me. They love me so much.
Isn't that great? If you date somebody who had a shitty last one, you're set up so good,
Yeah. Like, dude, because all she talks about is how nice I am to her, and I'm just like, it's regular relationship.
Regular dude. Yeah, listen,
we do stuff for each other. We're dating. Like I care about.
2023, the bar is low, and you're a wonderful human being.
It's crazy how low the bar. I'm like, yeah, of course I got you a thing because I was thinking about you. We're dating. I think about you. She's like, wow, that's really nice. I'm like, that should be the bar, actually.
That's literally just the basic normal shit. So yeah.
I'm not worried about it at all. What are you doing next weekend now? Are you doing anything?
So what I'm doing, we're gonna bring our now relatively this is like I don't know how many times, but I'm a Kirby. I'm just after tourism.
I love Kirby, dog. Dude, I love Kirby. Kirby's your your alternate a lot when I'm gone. I'm like, oh, that's such a great addition. So
yeah, I mean, they're just an awesome fucking human being, a great creator, and just have really, really, really solid insights into games.
Absolutely.
Suggest a lot of fantastic games. I mean, just a really, really fantastic addition to our little rotation here on the Weekly Scroll. As I don't even think they're not even a special guest anymore. I don't even know what to alternate guest. They're our go-to when you're not here because they're just generally an awesome fucking human being. You should definitely check out all the stuff over at Disaster Tourism Games. But we are going to be going over
DT
Packs and Blades from Lucas Rollum. This is a minimalist sword and witchcraft RPG for short campaigns and quick sessions. It's a pretty small, more Moroccan framework for games. Really fun, really interesting. Solid zine here. So a little bit smaller than what we just went over today, but this will be a really fun one to talk to Kirby about. He also loves this game, and I suggested it. We both said fuck yeah at the same time. So next week we're going to be going over Packs and Blades from Lucas Rollum. Really excited for that. So that was Trophy. Love the shit out of this fucking game. Buy it, play it, let us know how it is. And we're done. So find us at the.weekly.scroll on Instagram. I am keeping up with it.
The Instagram looks fantastic.
Thank you. I only do 3 posts a week instead of 6, and it makes me not want to do terrible things to myself. You can also find us on Twitter at weekly_scroll. That's where you'll see, all of our links to all of our VODs, all of everything, announcing of the games, all that kind of stuff, or just, late night rants when I'm at work. And then you can also find us at The Adventure Archive on YouTube. That's all of the Weekly Scroll. That's all of the AP podcast for The Adventure Archive. That's, all of the games that we do, the Seance podcast that I did with Source of Victory, where we built a Death Trap dungeon together. A lot of amazing content on there. Definitely go check out The Adventure Archive. Subscribe. I think we're past like 775 followers now, so we're really closing in on that 1,000, which is really fantastic. But do us a favor, go do that, and go to Spotify and Apple and follow us and drop a review too, because more of that is better for us too. And that's it. That's our podcast.
Our beautiful voices.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. My favorite part about editing the podcast, even though we don't really edit it, is how in the beginning our volume is like this, and by the end our volume is like this, and it's always my favorite part to see.
We just get so excited. So
listen, and that you're welcome, everybody, for our excitement. That is our episode. Trophy is fucking awesome. Buy it. Hunter, you're fucking awesome. Buy it. And I will see you, I guess, in 2 weeks, buddy.
Farewell.
All right. Bye.
Bye.